Celebrating over 10 years on the internet airwaves and live from Chatsworth, California, it's Stu's Show. Unrehearsed, uncensored, up-close and personal conversations with top celebrities from the world of television, both in front of and behind the cameras. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's your host, Stu Shostak.
Whoa! Whoa! We made it! We're here! 2 seconds of applause. That works. Everything is working. I am so happy. Let me take off my glasses because I'm done engineering for a moment. Welcome to the first official Stu Show television broadcast. Yes, I know we've been testing the last couple of weeks. Yes, I know I've spoiled all of you by doing a New Year's Eve broadcast from Fresno at the end of last year. So what do we expect to accomplish in doing this show over the next however many months or years or whatever? Well, we want to first start out by sort of augmenting and complementing the audio shows that we do on Wednesdays around here. So you might occasionally find that we do one of these special 2 or 2.5 hour broadcasts where I choose one of our regular Stu Show guests at random and either bring them into the studio here or present them via Skype to you out there, as what is basically what we're going to be doing here today. And then I thought maybe it was always my goal to run a classic television channel, even before all of these MeTVs and Antenna TVs and Get and Cozy and Buzzer and all of these things hit the airwaves. I had that idea first. I wanted to do a classic television station, but I wanted to do it like TCM does with movies. I wanted to have live hosts. In other words, I wanted to have Vince Waldron be a host for a block of sitcom shows and give you information and trivia, facts, and features about each show we were running. I wanted to have Jerry Beck do cartoons, a 2-hour block of cartoons, and have him talk about each and every cartoon prior to the screening of the cartoon. And most importantly, and I'm only saying that because he is our guest today, most importantly, I wanted to do game show blocks. And I wanted to have Professor Steve Beverly host those game show blocks and provide trivial facts and figures about the game shows, the rare game shows that you were going to see. But it never came to pass, folks. MeTV went on the air, Buzzer went on the air, Cozy went on the air, Get TV, Antenna TV, Decades, they left me in the lurch. I'm all alone here. I still have this great idea and nowhere, no place to do it. Until now. Now I've got the outlet by way of Ustream and by way of the VIP listeners who each month support this program and give me the money to maintain the audio part of the website and now hopefully the video part of the website. Do you like this concept? Do you like the fact that maybe we'll do a little bit of Stu Show schmoozing with the guests for a few minutes and then go right into our feature presentations of classic television shows? If you do, I really want to hear from you today. I really want to hear from you. I'm going to press this button, and hopefully that it did. It brought up the toll-free number. Hey, I did something right. You can call us today at 888-746-5875. Not now. We've got some talking and some discussion to do on television for the next 20 or 25 minutes. We are sustained today, as they used to say in the broadcast world back in the 50s, when a show did not have a sponsor. They just did a show, and that's what we're doing today. We're going to talk to our regular Wednesday sponsors and see if they want to cut over and sponsor these occasional broadcasts that we do here. But we want to hear from you. We want to hear what your ideas are for a classic TV channel. Not a full-time one yet. We're not quite ready to do that. We're not even ready to broadcast in high def. That's going to take a lot of money and a lot of help from you VIP listeners out there. And I'm not soliciting. I'm not going to ask for any kind of money today. I just want everybody to sit back and enjoy what can be and what could be if we run with this concept. Because what I ultimately would like to do is purchase programming, purchase copyrighted programming, and then have our rotation of hosts give you the facts and features prior to each of those screenings. And then we're really on the move. And then maybe we can fulfill the dream that I have of doing a classic TV station a la TCM. So email us. The email machine is right here off camera. You can't see it right now. It's right there underneath me, though. Comments at StuShow.com. The toll-free number is on. Please behave yourselves when you call. Please ask intelligent questions. Please make me proud of the viewers that I have out there today. Before we bring out any classic TV shows or take any emails or calls from you, let me introduce my guest for today, who has volunteered to be a part of this maiden voyage and will be with us for the entire 2 or 2.5 hour broadcast, however long we go today. You all know him if you're a fan of this program on Wednesdays, because he is a contributing guest. He has been on the show since practically the beginning, over 10 years ago now. He is a game show historian with a photographic memory. He is a professor of journalism at Union University at Jackson, Tennessee, and he is here via Skype right now. Let me bring him on with our canned studio applause and see if that's working. Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you via Skype from his control room at Union University in Jackson, Tennessee, Professor Steve Beverly. And there he is, ladies and gentlemen.
How you doing, Mr. Douglas?
I'm doing just fine, Professor Beverly. You are part of history. I'm not sure that it's good history. It's certainly better than the history that was made last Friday in Washington. But welcome to Stu's show on internet television.
And considering the fact that I have been in the very room that you are saying all this from, I feel especially honored.
Well, that's good. And I'm hopeful today that the connections will last. I am using up so much bandwidth in this studio today between broadcasting out to get the highest possible 640 by 480 video image to everybody around the world, and then also using the Skype to broadcast you so that we see you as you are right now sitting. Now, that is the actual control board that your students use to direct and produce Jackson 24/7, correct?
That is correct, and this is where it all happens. Today we were in doing a taped news conference that they do every Monday, but yeah, this is where it all happens and where I enjoy seeing them begin to get their maturity here in television, so it's a lot of fun.
It sure looks like it's a lot of fun, and I gotta say that you and I have been friends. I mean, you were a video customer of Shoka's Video back to the 80s. You and I have been friends forever, and to watch you supervise these kids and watch the Jackson 24/7 show daily and watch the input that these guys put out day after day with just you sort of hovering over them is pretty phenomenal. Now, we've talked about this before. Have you got a lot of students that you see have futures in broadcasting there?
Yeah, I mean, this is what the real joy is that seeing that we've got at this point in time right now. Now, some that have graduated have gone on to allied fields, but we've got probably 35 students that are working in some form of journalism, production, somewhere in media, and that's the real pride that we have, is seeing these young people do what I first started doing 40 years ago, actually about 41 years ago now.
That's pretty impressive. Let's get the usual question out of the way. I'm assuming that the Union University Jackson, Tennessee's basketball teams, particularly the women, are in first place already this year. Whoa! Oh, give me a new. What happened, Professor? What happened?
This is really, and I must tell you, it's the first time in 25 years of being voice of the Union Lady Bulldogs that they've run into this. They're 9-9 on the season after starting out 5-0, and a big problem is that they have had probably the worst number of injuries that I have ever seen. In fact, one night they could only suit up 6 players because they were so banged up. That's part of the game. And you don't make excuses because you have injuries. But at one time they went through 2 games that they only had 6 players, and you just pray at that point that you don't get 2 players in critical foul trouble, because the rules of basketball is that you go with how many you got left. But it has been a tough year. It's probably been the toughest year for our coach, Mark Campbell, but you knew it was going to happen eventually. So they're beginning to get some players healed, and the most important thing is, how are they going to perform when they get close to conference tournament time in March? It's anybody's guess right now.
Let me teach you a new term that I learned over the weekend. When I ask you how good they're doing, you don't have to say that. You can give alternative facts.
No, I don't. I'll tell you what. I don't do that at all because it really
You know what?
is.
You better not, because as a journalism teacher, I am appalled by what is going on, and I fear it's only going to get worse. Where are we going to draw the line on this now that he's in the White House, Professor?
Well, I think everybody has got to have some patience, and that's what nobody seems to have right now. And unless that happens, it's going to be a tug of war.
Yeah.
But I think everybody has to take some time, back off, and just say, okay, let's give it a chance to see what is going to happen before you have all of this constant rooting for failure. And unfortunately, that is what my perspective is that I see right now. If it fails, it's going to fail. But you got to give this an opportunity to play out. And I think what we have is probably one of the worst tug of wars I've seen in some time. And I don't like anything about what I'm seeing in the battle that I'm seeing in that particular venue right now.
Steve.
But as far as talking about basketball, no alternative facts. It is the truth. The players just have not. When you're down to 6 players and you go through 2 games, and then he had 4 games that he only had 7. You are going to have a very difficult time in Division II NCAA basketball being able to stay up with your competition. So the biggest hope he has is that in February he'll get some bodies back out there on the floor and perhaps maybe turn some things around. But, who knows?
You see what he did there, folks? He did a Kellyanne Conway there. He changed the subject. Anyway, thank you, Steve. No, seriously, though, one other question on this whole thing. Is what you just told us, is that what you're telling your students about fake news issues and the alternative facts and all of this? I mean, they've got to be somewhat confused right now.
Well, I think when they're at that age right now, you've got to get them away from that element of it and teach them what I call classic journalism. And that is, okay, get the facts, try to get them right, ask the right questions, and then be fair when you report. And I think that is more important than paying all this attention to what's going on in the national world right now, because I mean, in all honesty, teaching is teaching no matter what, and you have to teach a classic sense of journalism to these young people. And then, okay, when they get out there in the real world, one of the things I'm always very, very firm with them about, you're going to have to follow what a boss tells you to do in the real world. Or if you are forced into a situation where you're asked to do unethical things in journalism, then you decide, okay, is this a place I want to work?
Yeah.
And I think that's the most important thing for young people. You try to teach them the right way and then hope that they will be mentored by people once they begin their career who will continue the right way.
Well said. You see why he makes the big bucks as not only a journalism professor, but as the executive producer of Jackson 24/7. What can I tell you? All right, Steve, I want to try a few elements from the Wednesday shows out visually and see how they work. I want some feedback from the I almost said listeners, they're viewers today. Comments at stewshow.com. Just tell us whether or not our usual banter that Steve and I, and when we have Wes with us, when we do our Wednesday shows, just tell me if it's interesting to watch as well as listen to. Steve, let me start off with Jerry Seinfeld bailing on Crackle. Crackle is in deep, deep doo-doo right now, folks. The talk is over at Sony that heads are rolling, budgets are being slashed, executives are being dumped, and through the rumor mill, I hear that Crackle may be no more. And to that end, Jerry Seinfeld has made a deal with Netflix, which I guess means Acura will not be his sponsor anymore because there are no sponsors on Netflix. He has jumped the Crackle ship after being with Sony for all those years that his show was in syndication with them, and has moved over to Netflix. Steve, what do you have to say about the future of Crackle and what Jerry Seinfeld just did?
Well, obviously it had to be a lucrative situation for him to make that move, but the other part of it is, I think Crackle is just one example of a lot of these streaming networks may ultimately
Go ahead.
Yeah, but a number of these streaming networks in corporations may not be there that long because there's such a variety of them. And I think one of the key things you've got to look at when you talk about something like this is the big picture with Sony. We are seeing some stories that broke in the last week to week and a half suggesting that the entire television division of Sony could be on the block. In fact, there was speculation that because there is at least a connection between CBS and Sony because of the shows that Sony produces that CBS distributes.
Yes, I heard Les Moonves say that he's interested in acquiring Sony the way NBC and Universal merged.
And it could very, very well be a possibility that the entire television division of Sony could be on the block.
Yeah.
And so I think that may be the big picture of all of this. Crackle is probably just one piece of that puzzle.
One of the things that annoys me about Crackle is the constant barrage of commercials. I don't watch the network anymore because they not only put commercials where they're supposed to go in the shows that they're running, but they sometimes put extra ones in 5-10 seconds after a program starts. And it's just so irritating between that and the broadcast networks with their buttons in the lower corners and their banner advertising. I mean, do you remember Prodigy, when Prodigy first went on the internet? That's what this is looking like now. It's looking like antiquated internet graphical screens, and it's really annoying. Sometimes these graphics at the bottom cover up what you need to be looking at on the screen.
Well, it's very much like what a lot of us have complained about when it comes to particularly cable networks that to squeeze additional commercial material in, and I mean squeeze. It's like packing sardines in a can. And then to do that in a fashion where either the shows are edited to the point that it looks like they've been to a butcher shop, or that they are time compressed to the point that it's as if they swallowed helium, and the dialogue between the actors is so fast, and you know it is, and the songs, the theme music or any background music that you have on the shows are going at such a pace that you know it's not the key that it was originally written.
It's getting worse too, Steve, because Janine was watching I Love Lucy on the Hallmark Channel, and why she does that, I don't know. But it gets to the point where everything gets stuck out and talks like this, and you lose the feelings of the actors, and it sounds like a robot talking, and it's just you can't watch it. It's a strain to watch it.
I remember when Game Show Network first got Who Wants to Be a Millionaire reruns, and Regis and the contestants, when they were doing the interviews, it sounded like they were in a hurry to get home. And then what you did is that you could time it out as to how the show was time compressed, because when they would go to the phone a friend, and it was a 30-second time limit, I timed it on a stopwatch, and it was 22 seconds. So figured they're doing the whole show like that because it allowed them to get 8 extra minutes, 16 extra 30-second spots into that hour-long show.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just going to get worse until they realize that everybody has gone the streaming route. To that end, I posted something on the Stu Show Facebook page last week. A study just came out, which we knew was coming, and I'll talk to Jerry Beck about this when he's on the audio show in March. Streaming has now overtaken sales of DVDs and Blu-rays. You knew that was coming, right, Steve?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, not a doubt, because... And particularly, you realize that because it's the younger audience that embraces the technological advancements first. I'm around college students, so I can always tell when this change is coming before it actually gets traction and you start reading about it, because they're the ones who really grasp and embrace this first. To many college students, the DVD is a dinosaur now.
Let me interject here too. Laziness is a factor here. Let me tell you what's involved for people our age to put on a DVD. You're sitting in your chair, you notice a disc on your shelf, you want to watch that disc, you get up out of your chair, you grab the disc off the shelf, you open the disc cover, you take the disc out, you walk over to your television set and your DVD player, you put the disc in, you start the player, you go back to your seat, you sit down, and you choose on the menu which show you want to watch, and then you watch the show. With streaming, you press a button on your screen and you get the show.
Yeah, it's the same parallel as to when everybody finally got wireless remote controls on their sets back in the late 1960s, because up until that point, and you try to talk this to younger people and they think you're an idiot, they can't believe that you got up out of your seat to physically change the channel on your sets.
Yes.
And so it's really the same kind of evolution that we had a little more than 50 years ago. Yeah. That we went from having to get up out of our seat and we could just sit there with that button. For some people, I know it was in the 70s before that occurred. Yeah. But in short, it's the same type of thing, and we're not going backwards with this. Yeah. And the thing is we're seeing tests now in particularly some companies with 5G speed. And here in Jackson, Tennessee, where I'm at, we have our public utility, which is both a broadband communication and cable provider. Public utility has had the gig for more than a year now. We're one of the smallest cities in the country that has gigabyte speed, but the bottom line to it is the faster that this gets, the easier it's going to make streaming services for anybody who wants to do it.
Absolutely. That's why we're able to broadcast television from this office studio in the beautiful city of Chatsworth, California now. The faster it goes, the easier. Well, I don't know how easy this is. You should see this place, Steve. I mean, you've been here enough when we do audio-wise. I got lights everywhere here. I got equipment over here. I got the email machine here. I got phone. It's just, but for somebody who's a gadget geek like you or me, this is like a dream come true. We can do our own television broadcast now, just like we were doing our own internet, audio internet. And I agree with you. The easier things get and the faster speed moves, the more people are going to get lazy, and the younger people, the millennials, we won't go there today though, they will survive. They will conquer and divide, and they will be the ones. I just want to run a couple of more topics past you, and then we'll get right into the classic game shows today. I'm happy too that Steve had a chance to look at the first show we're going to run today, because it's super rare, and I'm surprised that he did get to see it. So he's going to be able to comment a little bit more on it than I thought that he would be able to. Let me ask you, Steve, if you have seen the Netflix One Day at a Time program that has come back as of January 6th. I worked on the Norman Lear sitcoms back when they were in the 70s, first as an audience booker and then later as an audience warm-up guy. Why they chose One Day at a Time remains a mystery to me. And after seeing, first of all, have you seen the show, Steve?
I have not actually had a chance to see it. I've read a number of reviews about it, but I haven't had a chance to actually view one.
All right. The reason I bring this up is because of the other deal, apparently, that Norman Lear, who I absolutely admire and love what he did to change the course of television in the 1970s and revolutionize this industry. It's going to take somebody super, super, super competent and super intelligent to top what he did. And that's why I've always said, folks, leave well enough alone. I'm reading all of these wonderful reviews about One Day at a Time all over the internet, and then I watch the show, and I got to tell you, I didn't see or hear any laughs in this show. It was long. Boy, was it long. I think it was over a half hour long, but it seemed even longer than that. It was dull. It was unfunny, and what they did to Pat Harrington's Schneider character, look, I'll give him kudos. You cannot replicate or duplicate what Pat Harrington did for that character. That character was the comic relief for the whole 9 years or however long that show was on originally. Everybody loved it when he entered a scene and took over for a few minutes, or if there was a show about Schneider. So I give them kudos for knowing that they can't top that. But to take that character and go 180 degrees in the other direction and make this guy unfunny and dull, and really, I'm watching this thing, and it's like there's no purpose for this guy to even be on the show. It makes no sense. And here's the other thing. And they changed the names of everybody else because it's a Latino show now, and I have no problem with that whatsoever as long as it's funny. It's not funny. But they leave the Schneider character's name the same. That's the only leftover from the original One Day at a Time, except the set. The apartment sort of has remnants of Bonnie Franklin's apartment. There's the table in the kitchen area, and then the bedrooms are in the back. That's sort of the way Bonnie's apartment was in the original show. But why would they leave Schneider's name as the only character from the other show when this is clearly not the Schneider character? So I watched the pilot, and I wasn't appalled. I mean, it wasn't god awful, terrible, lousy, stinkeroo. It just wasn't funny. There were no laughs in it. It was just a long, boring program. Then I started to watch the second show, and I got about a third of the way through it, and I had to give it the gong. I don't know where these positive reviews are coming from. I'll get to you in a second, Steve, because you said you have read some bad reviews, and I'd like to know where they are so that I can compare notes. But I am telling you, I don't understand the reason for this. I will give Rita Moreno. Rita Moreno is the best thing about the show, but she's very pushy and very loud and very Latino in it, which, I don't have a problem with. I think her character is great, but she's very obnoxious and pushy, and I think that's funny for about 3 or 4 episodes, and then that's going to be irritating and annoying. My personal opinion. Any of you out there that have seen the show and liked it, I would love to hear from you. Comments at stewshow.com when we open the phone lines up in a little bit if you want to talk about that. Only if you've seen the show, though, and you have, even if you have the same viewpoint as I do, but I would like to hear from somebody who liked it and why they liked it. But Steve, to you now, why do you think they kept the Schneider name the same and everything else was different?
The only thing I can figure, Stu, is that it was a bone to throw to the viewers of the classic series because they wanted some identity that was continual where that was concerned. But a good friend of mine that is a columnist for Media Post Online, Adam Buckman, who I have a tremendous amount of respect for what he writes, even if I don't agree with it. But he made the point, and I'll just consolidate it. He said, why are they doing this? Why are there attempts to remake shows and use the same title when they really aren't remakes? They are, for all intents and purposes, entirely new series, and he shared some of your views.
Hold on. He did share some of my views. Here's the deal. You mentioned that the people that remember the other show fondly, they keep the Schneider character the same. The people like you and me that remember the other show are going to take one look at this and go, what I did. If they're changing everything else, why? This is not the Schneider we remember. Yep. And again, I give them kudos for knowing that they can't top what Pat did. But oh my God, to go in the total opposite direction, people like you and me are going to look at this and go, why? Now, on that note, let me tell you, which I'm sure you're aware, that Norman Lear has made a deal with Sony because they own all the rights now to bring back All in the Family and the Jeffersons and Maude in Good Times. I'm sure you read this, Steve, but get this. Bring them back, but not update them like they did with One Day at a Time. Hire new actors to do the old 70s scripts. And again, why? When we've got Carol O'Connor and Gene Stapleton and John Amos and Beatrice Arthur, why hire? You know what it's going to look like? High school drama productions. Why are they that desperate for new material, for new products, Steve?
It may be one of the classic problems that all of the variety of services that we have now, because I know what was being said last year by one of the executives of the FX network that was talking about the fact that last year there were some, and they're not covering seasons necessarily, all of them, by the definition of what we used to consider a season in television, but it was somewhere in the neighborhood of 541 new original series, at least even if series could be defined as a few episodes, that were produced for all of the services, broadcast, over-the-air, cable, and streaming. in the last year. And one of the problems that you run into with that, first off, is that no viewer can watch all of this stuff. The other thing is, so many of these things were rewarded and honored with nominations, the Golden Globes and other places, and I'm sure it'll happen with the Emmys as well. And they're things that the average viewer has not seen.
Yeah.
Because unless you are just absolutely a streaming junkie, and I know there are people who are.
Yeah.
A lot of people just have not seen all of these shows, and I think probably one of the big reasons, Stu, that you're seeing shows like this being revived is in no small part because there is a dearth of that much creativity out there, and so they're trying to go to tried and true formats. But the only problem, as I see it, these shows were hits because particularly a lot of these shows were so topical. These shows were hits for their day.
Right.
I challenge anybody to try to say they can come back and remake All in the Family and have any degree of success with it because it was for its day. The same thing with the Jeffersons. Yeah. I mean, how are you going to do this and recreate? Because you could not have had the Jeffersons if you hadn't had about a year and a half to 2 years of a build-up of the relationship between Louise and George, Archie and Edith. How are you going to recreate that?
But I gotta go back to my main point here. Why do this when the originals are out there in their original form with the original actors and are available on YouTube, are available on Hulu, are available on Netflix? I don't understand the logic here. I don't know what Norman Lear still has to prove. Like I said, I love the man. He made my career. He's a genius. What he did in the 70s was his legacy. But quite honestly, Steve, ever since he walked away in 1979, every time he's tried to come back to television, he hasn't succeeded.
Now, and sometimes, and that's been true for a lot of creative geniuses through the years. Just think about somebody like Leonard Stern, who had such a huge hit with The Honeymooners, and then he clicked again with Get Smart, but then after that, it was over.
Yeah.
The kind of comedy that Gary Marshall did during the 1970s and 80s, but you can't recreate that because tastes change, culture changes, and it's very hard to remake. It's just like what we've said about some game shows, is that if you go too far in trying to remake a show, keep the same title, have some basic rules, but do some things to tweak it too much, then it usually fails. And I think it's the same thing that happens with basic scripted entertainment shows, is that so many of the Norman Lear shows, because they were so topical and so culture-oriented of the 70s and 80s, I just don't think you can come back with those shows again and find anywhere close to the same magic.
I agree with you. I am having a little trouble with my switcher right now, Steve. When I cut to you, it cuts in and out. Let me see if I can get it stable again. First time. Okay, I think we're okay now. You know, maybe the switcher disagrees with us. I think we're okay now. Why don't we move on to another topic here? Now you're cutting out again. I'm going to have to switch over to me and figure out why that's happening. It was working fine all through the testing phases today, folks. Let me see what's on the docket here. Let's talk about ABC. Bringing back the Gong Show. There's a tasteful decision. And also, what's on everybody's mind is, as you know, they brought back To Tell the Truth and Match Game in the wintertime. The wintertime, when the primetime series, sitcoms and drama shows are flourishing. I still don't understand the logic there. Let's first talk about their decision to bring back the Gong Show, and then tell us, almighty Steve, how exactly To Tell the Truth and Match Game have been doing since they came back at the beginning of the month.
Well, as far as the Gong Show is concerned, I mean, this is a case of you're trying to go to the well for so many products that you had some success with it in the summer when the competition is a lot lower. We all know that these shows did not have the same kind of, they were not through the roof hits that we had with Who Wants to Be a Millionaire in 1999, when you saw that the margins of their ratings victory were so large that show was going to be competitive against conventional entertainment shows when they brought it back in the fall and winter. But here's the thing. These shows were frankly designed to be summer attractions, and when they decided to bring them back as January offerings, a lot of this has strictly been as bridge shows between what we now have is split seasons of a lot of these dramatic shows on the networks, because they're not making as many as they used to be. So they have what is a semi cliffhanger that comes maybe around November, December. And then, okay, you go 6 to 7 weeks with a game show that doesn't cost you a lot of money, even if the ratings are bad. And both of these shows have had ratings that have largely been in the bottom 20. And so what you do, you make the transition to that as a bridge so that then they can come and fill the back 11 or so episodes of these shows to start with the February sweeps.
I got you. Let me stop you for 1 second. Does this mean that the ratings that are so bad right now for To Tell the Truth and Match Game, is this going to interfere with them coming back in the summer now that they're showing their true colors?
Probably not. I think because they had such success with it last summer that you won't see the end of them as summer fillers, because that's the alternative. People want to see something a little bit different, and you're seeing the other networks making noises about possibly doing the same thing. But I think,
God, yeah, CBS is thinking about Hollywood Squares, and then NBC just picked up The Wall. I mean, none of these things are going to be ratings dynamos, are they?
No, I don't think so. But I think what happens is they'll go back to their regular cycle as being summer editions. And, I would not be surprised if they go back and do the triple stack on Sunday night and do the 3 game shows back to back, because they did get respectable ratings as a summer show.
Yes, that's the key. Where the numbers are depressed to begin with, and that there is nothing else to watch on Sunday nights during the summer, there is a place for them. But I got to tell you, I watched the first Match Game return back at the beginning of the month, and Alec Baldwin is brilliant as Donald Trump on SNL, but why must he hog all of the attention, or try to hog all of the attention away from everybody on Match Game? Didn't anybody tell him that the definition of a good game show host is to just referee and be a traffic cop, especially when you've got 6 people that are out of control to begin with and 2 dumb contestants that don't know how to play the game? You're to remain neutral. But it's just like the guy in the White House now. It's all about Alec, isn't it, Steve?
Well, I think with Baldwin, this is one of those things you can tell him all day that a game show host is supposed to make everybody else the star of the show, and he's not going to pay any attention to it. I know, folks, that there are some of you out there who will sorely disagree with me. He is the most narcissistic game show host I think I have ever seen. And it is, indeed. When the minute he walks out there, it's all about him. He does very, very little to throw the show to the celebrities or to the contestants, who we don't even get their last names anymore. I mean, this is almost...
I don't know why that trend started. It just seems like we're missing something because they did that. This is Tammy, and this is Bobby. It's like Romper Room.
I can tell you where that started is because I'm around high school and college students that I got to be candid with you. If we didn't say something about it in class, they wouldn't know who half their friends' last names are. And I'm serious about that. But in all candor on this, I think what we have to look at here, though, is that I think Alec Baldwin, as a game show host, is who he is. Now, Howie Mandel was smart enough to be able to listen to people that told him, you got to rein in your stand-up act, and you have to let these contestants be the star of the show. If Howie Mandel would have attempted to pull the Alec Baldwin card on Deal or No Deal, that show would have been gone probably in about 6 weeks.
Yeah. When the minute you see the glove going on his head in the middle of somebody trying to decide whether or not to open case number 5, that would have been the end.
Yeah, but I think what you have here is that he's not going to change who he is, because he feels that in his role is that he's more important than everybody else there on stage. You can watch it for 5 minutes and determine that. Yeah. And so it's not a fun show to watch, although I know for some of the junkies out there who continue to watch it, they're just glad to have it back in whatever format it is. But to me, the show is just very unfunny and unentertaining.
Yeah. Sums it up. Now, you mentioned that the other networks were jumping on the bandwagon, and I mentioned CBS perhaps with Hollywood Squares. And again, whoever gets to host, they get Bergeron to host it, at least there'll be some control. But I also read, and you read this too, about Fox, bringing back Love Connection. Fox, Steve, Fox,
yeah.
F-O-X, bringing back Love Connection, and some kind of jazzed up version of Name That Tune. I forgot what they're calling it. Let me look at my notes here. It's called Shazam. I thought that'd be a spin-off of Gomer Pyle. But Love Connection. Tell me, being on Fox, and tell me, with all of the reality shows dumbing down this country, tell me that this version of Love Connection is not going to be the scummiest, sleaziest, overtly sexual show you have ever seen.
It will make Blind Date seem like something that the Parents Television Council would approve. I'm serious, because
and what are they going to do to Name That Tune? Is it going to be all hip hop and rap music?
You can bet it's going to be more contemporary type music, which is to be able to translate that into television today. It just doesn't work, because the success of Name That Tune was because it was middle of the road music, which is why I've said I don't think you can bring it back anymore, because we really don't have such an animal, with the possible exception of some country.
Yeah.
It's just we don't have the style of music that you can play Name That Tune, because it was the melody that meant everything on that show, and we don't have a lot of songs today that have melodies.
Yeah, Steve, I'm 60, you're 61. We are both just so out of it. We're here we are. Instead of a park bench, we got my office chair, and you got your control room chair. We're two old guys just bitching and whining about everything that's wrong with television today. In our eyes, we may be so off base, but I have never felt so much like my grandfather in my whole damn life.
Well, just look at it, Stu, though. See how fractionalized the audience is today.
That's true.
Partially because we have such huge numbers of choices, but also because of the fact, let's face it, shows that are extremely popular today, you're going to see very, very few shows that are going to go on 8-10 years anymore. And the other part of it is that these shows are not, the shows that are hit shows today are not going to be long-term remembered, as were the ones that many of us grew up with, because of the fact when you have such a broad selection, it's hard for somebody to stand out in the bunch. What they want to do is make enough episodes so they can get them into repeats. It'll make the actors more money, and then make the production companies more money. If they can get 2 to 4 years in cable syndication or weekend syndication on local stations, that's what the business model is today.
And is that why NBC picked up The Wall and is bringing back Will and Grace, because they have nothing else and they need money?
Well, here's the deal. And I know our good friend Wes Hyatt, we love his NBC rants. They're trying to ride the crest now. This Is Us as being the game changer for American network television right now. Maybe it is. It's the hot show as far as the newcomers this year. How long is that going to last?
Yeah.
And that's hard to tell, because it seems as though the fatigue factor sets in a lot faster on particularly dramatic shows today than it once did. Yeah. But I think what happens, I personally think that The Wall is a bridge show for them, that again is to buy time so that they can try to get another scripted show in there in the slot that it fills.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Okay, I'm going to check emails in a second. I've opened the phone lines up. I've superimposed the number underneath. We'll take a couple of phone calls now. God help us all. We are toll-free at 888-746-5875. We'll take 1 or 2 phone calls. And while we're waiting for the phone calls, because I know we're on a 30-second delay here, let me take a look and read a couple of emails here from our one of our regular listeners to our Wednesday show, Randall Bowie from Henderson, Nevada. Steve, he says, I'm not much for talking on the radio, especially since I currently am wearing medical Naser apparatus. Ooh. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Randall. Let's see what your question is. I would like to suggest you go to a game show format. Many of us love the older game shows. GSN has abandoned that format except around Christmas, and Buzzer has either been I need stronger glasses, been a bust or like me, unavailable. I would love having a channel that featured pre-1960s game shows. Well, you're going to get a taste of that today. I have to get up out of my chair, Steve, so I'm cutting over to you, and I'm going to turn on the phone is ringing. We'll see who it is. And you are live on the first Stu Show official TV broadcast. Who's calling, please?
Hi there, this is Brian from Connecticut.
Hello, Brian from Connecticut. Now, Steve, can you hear him okay?
I can hear him fine.
Great. Hi, Brian. Thanks for calling. How do we look? How are we doing? What do you think of my puss on Coast to Coast and international television?
Well, it's nice, and 4x3 is, I never had a problem with 4x3. I didn't know why they needed to go to 9x16, maybe for course lines or something, or course.
Show my wrinkles, maybe.
Yes, but, well, that's high def, different. But anyway, you don't have to go that way. I mean, you could stay 4x3 if you're going to keep doing all the 20th century programming classics you want to do.
Well, you know what? That's a very good point. That's very true. Do you have a question for me or for Steve today, Brian?
Oh, another thing, before I ask the question, I want to let you know that I'm getting advertising on the feed every so often.
Yeah, you know, I that's one thing I do want to mention. We have, with the account that we can afford right now through Ustream, you're going to see an ad when you first click on the feed, and then they have the permission of me, I guess. They didn't ask, but they have the permission to interrupt this program when they want and put in advertising. That's the way they pay for the type of account that I have. And the bad thing about that, Brian, is they don't pause you. In other words, they'll cut away for a minute or two, and then when you come back to us, we're still in progress. So that's why these shows are going to be archived, and that's why it's important to become a VIP listener. Thank you for the intro for this, Brian, because if you become a VIP listener, and I can double the amount of VIP listeners I have, I can afford the top-tier Ustream platform that is commercial-free. Give me a new. So that's our goal here. We got to double the membership of the VIPs. We do that, and that will take care of the feed, and that will eliminate the advertising. In the meantime, I'm sorry, you're going to have to put up with that, but these shows will be archived, so you can always watch them and miss the parts that get interrupted. I hope that satisfies your question there, Brian, or your statement.
Yeah, I was just saying that it was only 3 times, though. It was only 3 times in the last 45 minutes.
That's a lot. That's once every 15 minutes. We're getting to be like the Hallmark Channel here. We can't have that. Do you have a question for Steve? He's looking at me and laughing his head off right now. Do you have a question for Steve or for me?
Steve, yes. I want to tell you, you had remote controls in the 60s and 70s, those Zenith things that...
Yeah, my grandfather was one of the first ones to have one of those that had a big long wire, and you press it, and it sounded like you were electrocuting somebody in the other room. Do you remember those, Steve?
Oh, yeah. My uncle had one with an RCA in 1961. Was the first time I ever saw one. It had about a 20-foot cable on it.
Well, I just want to let you know that all you have to remember is
the volume of the channel.
Wait. You're both talking at the same time. Hold on 1 second, Brian. Hold your thought. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, all it would do is change the volume in the channel, but at that point in time, nobody else cared.
Okay, go ahead, Brian. Go ahead. Sorry.
I have a little factoid here. In 1980, that's when the infrared remotes came out, and that's when they started to get popular. In fact, if you want to remember our year, remember 1987, because that's when cable penetration got to 50%, VCR penetration got to 50%, and a remote penetration got to 50%. 1987, a year that pretty much...
A year that will live in infamy. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I thought I'd give you that. That's according to what I've been able to come up with, but I could be wrong.
No, I think you're right. See, we do have smart, nice, intelligent people out there. Brian, I thank you so much for calling in, and I'm glad that you're receiving us with or without those obnoxious commercials. And like I said, everybody, just give us your support. Join the VIPs that are already online, and so we can raise the money to pay for non-commercial programming, except the ones that I will try to lure over from my show here. But you guys all know we have Jeopardy tickets and Vince Waldron and Jack LaLanne and everybody else. They're the ones that have supported the audio version of the show all these years, and I know for a fact they'll come over and do television as well. All right, Brian, I appreciate you calling. Thanks so much for helping us with our maiden voyage tonight.
Yes, thanks for taking my call, and thanks for giving me, having me correct you guys.
You're not the first one. Thank you so much.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye. That's Brian from Connecticut. And we'll take one more call, Steve, and then we'll get into our programming today, because it looks like we're going to end up doing 3 hours if we don't. Got an email from Ron Roxburgh. Roxburgh, R-O-X-B-U-R-G-H. Roxburgh. I can't talk, I'm sorry. In Surrey, British Columbia, Canada. What a great idea. I'm here in Surrey, British Columbia, Canada, watching your video show today. What a great idea. I am watching via my iMac on my big screen TV, and it looks fine so far. And by the way, those advertisements are regional. I'm sure there are people watching us all over the country right now that are not getting any ads. So they pick on certain cities. Forgive me for getting up. I've got to get up and turn this on and say hello. You are live on Stu's show, Maiden Voyage video broadcast. Who's calling, please?
Hello, this is Greg Mellon calling from Moncton, New Brunswick, Canada.
Hello, Greg. Look at Steve. He's smiling. He's smiling. He knows who Greg is. What would you like to ask us today, Greg?
Yeah, well, I do want to ask a question to Steve.
Oh, to Steve. Steve, are you there? Steve? Oh, Steve.
I'm here.
There he is. Go. Ask him.
Yeah. With regards to NBC, I've been hearing rumors that there's like shaking up the daytime schedule because
What daytime schedule? There's nothing left except Days of Our Lives.
I know, and I want to ask Steve. There's been rumors that the show may go off the air. I would like to know whether if it's going to be renewed for another season, because my mother watches the show.
They've been talking about canceling Days of Our Lives as long as I've been on the air, haven't they, Steve?
Yeah, and as Wes has said many times when we've been together here, it has been hanging by its fingertips probably for about 5 or 6 years, but they keep getting these short-term 1 to 2 year renewals. Here is what largely the situation is. NBC just signed Megyn Kelly, formerly of Fox News Channel, to a megabucks contract in extension of in excess of $20 million a year.
Woo!
And so one of the things, she's going to be a big player at NBC. Now, does that mean that she's going to be the same hit there that she was at Fox? Not necessarily. We've had a lot of situations where network switches have not necessarily resulted in that. Katie Couric, for example. But the bottom line to it is that one of the things that they are projecting is to do a daytime series with Megyn Kelly. I don't know whether it would be a conventional audience talk show or if it's going to be a more news-oriented show. Whatever it is that apparently the plan as it stands right now, which could be subject to change, that she will get a daytime hour on NBC. Now, the big question is, do they do that by dumping Days of Our Lives, or do they expand their daytime schedule either by adding an hour, which the affiliates will fight them on, because so many of them have committed to syndicated shows that they don't want to give up, or do they scale back 1 hour of the Today Show and then Megyn Kelly would go in at the end of that? There are a lot of different scenarios are being discussed since that contract was signed. So we don't know yet. In fact, an NBC executive answered a report that came out from one of the national trades that Days of Our Lives was in fact going to be gone. And he says, no decision has been made on that yet. But I think the thing that is key to listen to on that, he didn't necessarily say it was going to be saved. So I think that we will probably see the tale told on this somewhere in the neighborhood of the next probably 30 to 60 days.
All right. Okay. So there you go. Greg, did we answer your question properly?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you for calling. We've got to get moving now. We're about 20 minutes behind now. I wanted to get our first game show running, and we're going to do that now. So thanks for calling.
Thank you. Enjoy the game shows.
Okay, you too. They're for you, not for us. We've seen them. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Steve.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we keep cutting back and forth here. I figured out there is a new short in the switch that connects you to everybody out there, and by switching your input from camera 2 to camera 4, I am able to control you every 20 minutes. Somebody needs to control you.
Somebody needs to control me.
We do. We'll take one more call. One more person is calling. We'll go ahead and take it, and you are live on Stu's show.
There's a new short in the switch that
Turn down your television. It's 30-second delay. Who's calling now? Hello.
Hello?
Yes, who's calling?
Hi, this is Jeff Alexander in Stuart, Florida.
Hello, Jeff. You know we're on a 30-second delay. You need to turn down your computer or whatever you're watching us on.
Well, okay, sorry about all that. The funny thing is what I've got going, I've got my desktop and my tablet all going. That's why I wasn't sure which one I was responding to.
Okay. I have been informed by Ustream that we may have a limit to there may be a ceiling as to the number of viewers we're allowed to have. So if you can let one of those go so someone else can get on, if that's the case. We're already over the limit according to what I'm looking at here. And by the way, Steve Beverly, I was looking at some of the other people broadcasting live today, and I saw that TMZ was broadcasting live, and we already have about 45 more viewers than they had when they were broadcasting live. So give me 2 seconds of applause. Take that, you scumbag, Harvey Levin. Anyway, we got to move this along, Jeff. What do you want to say real quick?
Okay, not a question, but more of a statement. You might be interested in this. This is an archival TV thing. A friend of mine posted on Facebook that there was a TV series called Trackdown from 1958 with Robert Culp.
Right. Yep. Say again?
Okay. Huh?
I didn't hear what you said. We overlapped. Say again.
Okay. There's a TV series called Trackdown from 1958 with Robert Culp.
Right.
Are you familiar with that series?
I've heard of it. Steve is familiar, right? Steve's nodding his head. Yeah. What about it, Jeff?
Okay. There's an episode that has a character who is a carpetbagger, tells the people he will build a wall to protect them. The name of the character, Walter Trump.
Really?
I thought you might want to dig in your archives, see if you have it, and maybe put it up as a show for people to watch. I watched it. There's a lot of dialogue in there. I was going, oh my God.
All right. And on that happy note, we have to get on to our game shows. So let's do 180 in the other direction. I'll get our minds off of that. Thank you for calling, Jeff.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye. No more calls, folks. That's it. We got to cut them off at least for now. We got to get going with these game shows because some of these have original commercials, and I don't want to have longer than a 3-hour broadcast. So I'm cutting over to Steve, and this first game show you folks are going to love. It is called The Auctioneer. The Auctioneer. It is from 1949, October of 1949. The story goes, and Steve, you can confirm or deny this, and I don't remember who I heard this from. Bob Stewart, beloved game show producer, creator, either worked on this show as a page or a PA and got the inspiration to create the original Price is Right with Bill Cullen from either working on this show or watching this show. Now, I'm going to say a couple of things else about it technical-wise, and then I'll throw it over to Steve, who will introduce it for us. This was an ABC show, one of the first programs to be broadcast on ABC, Friday nights at 9 o'clock, and the coaxial cable in 1949 went to Philadelphia, Boston, Baltimore, New York, and there was one other town close by. They'll announce it on the show as you see it. That was as far as the live broadcast went in 1949. This is an audience participation game where the studio audience is competing with the people at home. And I will now throw it over to Steve, who will give you some more facts about it, and then we will roll this as our first program. Go, Steve.
Well, that's what Stu said about Bob Stewart working on this show was entirely correct. And for those of you who might have seen, because it's also in the Shokus video collection,
I've never released this.
No, I know not this one.
I'm sorry.
If you have ever seen a show called What's Your Bid, that was hosted by a guy only known as Liberal Bill, there are a lot of similarities between the two shows.
I don't think I put out What's Your Bid either, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, somebody did. But anyway, if you've ever seen that show, there are a lot of similarities here because it involves the audience, and at times it's almost an organized chaos as they're trying to bid on all of these items. And it's primitive for television because television was a primitive medium at that point in time. The people who had television sets were just glad to see anything at that point. They were looking for inexpensive programs because they could not afford big-name stars as of yet.
Right.
So the bottom line to it, this show is really what you would say was the early form of television, doing something inexpensive just so they could get something on the air to see how many people were out there watching. So I think if you can put aside all of the things that you have come to expect about game shows in the current day or in the last 40 years, I think you'll find this extremely entertaining.
And here we go. What's cool about this kinescope is this was taken right off the air. So what you're going to see is about 20 or 25 seconds of the local Channel 7 WJZ, I think, were the call letters in those days. You're going to see a little bit of their local commercials into a station ID and then into the live network feed for this program. And I got to tell you, I'm sure Libby's products, and you'll understand why after you see this, made a bundle at the supermarket from this program. So here we go, folks. Back to 1949 in October and the auctioneer.
New York, Channel 7. Smartest way to a woman's heart, the glamorous Ben Russ Embraceable Bracelet Watch from $49.50, 9 p.m. Ben Russ Watch Time.
Listen to the Libby auctioneer.
That's 20 of the fire, the 20 of the fire, will you do it?
Listen to the Libby word of cheer.
That's 20 of the fire, the 20 of the fire, do we hear it?
Watch that man with the gavel in his hand. Stock your pantry with the Libby brand. Delicious fruit cocktail, corned beef hash, tomato juice with the extra dash. Tear off the labels and use them like cash. Join the fun and bid for a wonderful prize. When the program starts, the auctioneer cries.
20 of the fire once, 20 of the fire twice, 20 of the fire the third time. Y'all done sold.
By the Libby auctioneer.
And welcome to Libby's Auctioneer. You don't need money. All you need is Libby labels in your possession, which have been purchased from a retail grocer. You don't even have to be here to bid. Just phone your local number, which we'll give you again in a minute. Our operators will relay the highest bids by direct line to our stage in New York, where the high bid will always be shown on the Libby label meter. Right after the program, a bonded representative will visit the highest bidders to collect the labels and arrange for delivery of the prizes. Remember, you must have the labels in your possession. If the highest bidder does not have the labels bid, the prize goes to the next highest bidder. Also, we'll be calling you people at home to give you an opportunity to try to identify our mystery chant and win our jackpot prize, this beautiful new Chrysler sedan. Now, our phone numbers once more. Write down the number in your city. In New York, Chickering 47350. In Boston, Copley 72121. In Philadelphia, Locust 73356. In Baltimore, Mohawk 8500. In Washington, Executive 7240. And now, the man the whole nation will be bidding for, the Libby auctioneer, Jack Gregson.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and gee whiz, we've got more prizes to bid for tonight than you could just possibly shake a stick at. And to give you an example of exactly what I mean, I'd like you to show you the first one because, believe me, it is a beauty.
Ah, you bet it is, Jack. It's the new Westinghouse laundromat that takes the work out of wash day. It washes, rinses, and damp dries your clothes, then shuts itself off. Your laundromat does the work while you go to a movie or to the market for those fine Libby foods. It also has the exclusive water saver for greater economy. This Westinghouse laundromat is worth $300.
How much did you say it was worth, Glenn?
$300.
$425. Now give me a bid to start it. How much, anybody? All right, now you folks at home, remember now, get the number on your town. Call that number. Call it in. We'll receive it here. You folks here, get your labels ready and give me a bid to start it. How much, anybody? Come on, now give me 50. Got it over there now, 100. 100. I have 100 and 150 right over here now, 200. At 150, I want 200. I got 200 now, 2.5. At 300 right down there now, 4. At, you have it? She has it. I have 400 there. I want 5. Anybody give me a half then? At 400 now, 450. At 400, 450 labels. 500 right down here now, and a half. 500. Be sure and have your labels. We want to count them. 500. Now give me 5.25 then. At $500 now, 5.25. 500 Libby labels. I have 500 in Washington. I have 500. Now I want 5.25. At 500, are you all done? Are you all through at 500? What did you say? 5.25 right down here. Now 5.5. At 5.25. You have it, Boston. All right, now 35 then. 525, 535. Will you do that? 535, now 50. At 535, are you all done? You have your labels with you, sir, and you know they're counted. I want 5.5. I got it right over there. Now 600. At 500, 600. On 575, Philadelphia. Now 600. Are you all through? 600 right down there. Now and a half. 6.25 right behind me. Now and a half. 6.25 over here. Now and a half. 6.5. I got it now. 7. 75 there. 6. She had 75. Yeah. Now 85. Make it 685. You betcha. For the Westinghouse laundromat. Are you all done? Sold to this man right down here now. Hold it just 1 minute. This man gets it, providing there is no larger bid on our telephones, right? Okay, let's check our cities. Your bid was 675, right? 685. That's what I have in the crowd. The highest bid in New York is what?
1,600.
1,600. All right, there's our phone bid, 1,600. What about Boston?
900.
900, not high enough. Philadelphia?
1,100.
1,100, not high enough. New York is high with 1,600. Baltimore? 500, not high enough.
1,050.
1,050. It is sold New York for 1,600. The Westinghouse laundromat. Get the person's name if you can.
Clifford Bloomberg.
Clifford Bloomberg. Where does Mr. Bloomberg live? Do you have his address?
482 South 9th Street, Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn. Good enough. Well, something good happened in Brooklyn today. All right, then. Tell me this, if you will. Does Mr. Bloomberg have his labels at his home now?
Hey.
They must be at his home. They are in his home, all right. Our bonded representative will go out there and check his labels in just a few moments, and he will also receive his Westinghouse laundromat, and good luck to Mr. Bloomberg, huh? How about that? All right, now, our second auction in line. is this lovely keepsake diamond ring. It is worth $100. It's a genuine diamond ring, and it is registered. Give me a bid to start it. How much? Anybody. Now, you can bid at home, too. You folks at home, get on those telephones. I'll give you as much time as I possibly can. Give me a bid for the diamond. I have 100 right down here. 150. How many, honey? 150. She said, now 200. At 200, I have it right here, an hour and a half. For the diamond ring. At 250 back in there. Now 300. At 275 then. 275, I got it now 3. At 300. This man's been trying to buy all night long, and he's just going to die if he doesn't get something. Let's sell it to him, providing there's not a higher bid. Now wait it. Hold it. I'll check our phones. Your bid was what? 275. Let me check our phones. In New York City, your highest bid is what?
200.
200. Out. How about Boston?
550.
550. Boston's high so far. Philadelphia. What's your highest bid in Philadelphia?
475.
Please say them out loud, honey. All right. Now, Baltimore, what's your highest bid? Baltimore, what's your... What? None yet. Washington.
750, Jack.
Washington got in and they sold to Washington for 750. Tell me, if you will, please, what is the gentleman's name or the lady's name in Washington?
The man's name is William Vigler.
Mr. Vigler. Where does Mr. Vigler live?
Well, I really don't have his address.
You don't have his address yet. But ask Mr. Vigler if he has his Libby labels right in the house with him, please. He must. Right. They must be there. He does have them?
Yes, he has.
Good enough. Then on his way to him real soon will be, of course, this genuine keepsake diamond ring. It is a honey. And on top of that, of course, we wish him good luck. Tell him to stay right with us and keep on bidding. Well, that's fine then. Washington has already bought one, and New York has bought something from us. Now, folks, all of you folks at home, as well as those of you here in our studio audience, you have already seen our 1949 Chrysler sedan. It's a royal, and boy, she's raring to go. Now, here's what we're going to do. We have been receiving by the hundreds cards from ladies and gentlemen all over the eastern states wanting to play our game with us. And this is this portion of our game. Rebel Randall, my girl on Fridays, has already chosen a name out of the fishbowl. The name is whom?
Mrs. Evelyn Cantor from Baltimore, Maryland.
Oh, that's right, Mrs. Cantor. She wrote a little poem, too, didn't she?
No,
the other lady did. All right, we'll get to her in a minute. And she lives where, Rebel?
Baltimore, Maryland.
All right. Hello. How are you, Miss Cantor? You're no relation to Eddie, are you? No, you're not, huh? You're watching your television screen now, Mrs. Cantor? Okay, Mrs. Cantor, here's the way we play our game. I have recorded an auctioneer's chant. I want you to listen to it in just a moment. I want you to try and add up the numbers that you hear me holler in this auctioneer's chant. If you can add them correctly, you win this 1949 Chrysler sedan. Are you all set to go? Here's the mystery chant.
At 20 to the 5, the 5, the 5, 20 to the 5, 21. Now 21, I got it now 2. Now 2, now 3, now 4. Now 4, now 5. 5, I got it and sold.
Never thought a man could talk so fast, did you, Mrs. Cantor? What's your total guess? Hurry, Mrs. Cantor. You say 145? I'm sorry, Mrs. Cantor, that is not the correct answer. However, we want you to have, with our sponsors' best wishes, a whole case of delightful Libby fruit cocktail. And thank you so much for calling, Mrs. Cantor. There she goes now. Folks, I'd like to remind all of you at home that here's all in the world you have to do to have a chance to win the 1949 Chrysler. Get a 1-penny postcard. A postcard. On it, write your name, your address, your telephone number, and the call letters of your local television station. Then send it to Libby Auctioneer, in care of the American Broadcasting Company, New York City, New York. That's all in the world you have to do. I'll be back in just a second with some more auction items, but right for the moment, here is Glenn Riggs.
You know, when we tell you to look to Libby's for perfection, we mean you can do just that in every one of Libby's 100 famous foods. Not only that, but Libby packs such a complete line of fruits, vegetables, juices, canned meats and salmon, baby foods, pickles and condiments, and frozen foods that your family can virtually live on Libby's and have all the nourishment they need, plus tempting and well-balanced meals. For instance, here's just one day's menus. For breakfast, we have Libby's tomato juice and Libby's Vienna sausage, delicious with scrambled eggs. Yes, Libby's twice-rich tomato juice and Libby's tempting Vienna sausage, spiced just right, make a happy breakfast. Now, for luncheon, Libby's corned beef hash with all the savory beef juices sealed in. To make it even more tempting, Libby's spicing ketchup. And for dessert, there are Libby's pick-of-the-crop peaches. Ah, and here's dinner. From Libby's genuine deviled ham, we'll have a fluffy golden brown souffle. Libby's tender sweet June peas, Libby's sparkling red beets, and to make the family sit right up and cheer, a tender, flaky pumpkin pie made with Libby's deep golden pumpkin. Yes, day after day, meal after meal, you can always look to Libby's for perfection. When you go shopping tomorrow, remember to look for Libby's famous label. You can always look to Libby's for perfection.
Thank you, Glenn Riggs. And ladies and gentlemen, with 100 different fine foods served to you by Libby's, I don't think there's a chance in the world that you can't save enough labels to take part in our auction here every Friday night that comes into your home. Well, we're going right on with our auction now. This next one is going to be handled just a little bit differently. But first of all, to describe the item that we are actually going to be selling, let's let Glenn tell us about it again. Glenn?
It's a Tracy customized kitchen unit made of gleaming stainless steel. It's of sound-deadening construction, and all drawers glide on rollers. Plenty of handy drawer and cupboard space, and ample knee space so you can sit comfortably at work. It's worth $230.
It's worth $230. Now, you folks at home, you cannot bid. On this particular item, you cannot bid. We're going to have one just especially for you folks at home in a second or so. But right now, we're selling just to the folks here in the studio, and I'm going to sell it fast. Give me a bid. Start at how much for the kitchen? How much? 81. You can tell that's what she's got. You have 85. Now give me 100. 250 right over there. Now 300. At 275. Now 3. 500 right down here. I have 5 right here. 5.5, the man says. 600 right over here. Now 6.5. You got 6.5? 700, he says. Now I have 700 here. 705. 7.5 you want. Now 800. 800, I got it. Now a half. A half, now 9. Hey, we'll have an auction sale right here. 8.5, now 9. Will you give me 9? I got it now and a half. Will you give me the half? I got it now 10. At a half, right over there now 1,000. Will you do it? 1,000, I got it right over there now and a half. At a half, I got it now 1,100. 1,100, I got it now and a half. A half right over there now 12. Will you make it 12? And sold to this man right here. He's been trying. I had to sell it to him for 1,200 Libby labors. All right, come on up here. Come right on up here. In a hurry, if you will, please. Come right on over here by me, if you will. Look right out there at the... do you have all your labels?
Yes, sir.
You have them right here with you. Good enough. Rebel, will you take the man's labels? Count them, if you will, please.
Count.
All right. What's your name, sir?
McCormick.
Where are you from, Mr. McCormick?
Freehold, New Jersey.
Where?
Freehold, New Jersey.
Freehold, New Jersey.
Out in the
Glad to have you with us, Mr. McCormick.
Thank you,
happy
Jack.
you got a bid via Libby Label. What's
Hard
the
work,
product
now.
you use mostly in your home, Mr. McCormick?
Libby's.
That's right. Goodbye now. We'll see you later. Thanks again, Mr. McCormick. Let's get on now with our... Let's get on with our selling once again. And now you folks at home, come on in with us this time. Get those phone calls rolling. This time we are selling a lovely JB watch band and a $150 money order that is good at any jewelry store. Thank you very much, Rebel. There's the money order. Good at any jewelry store worth $150. You folks at home may bid too. Incidentally, so far the folks at home have bought 2 items, and we've only sold 1 in the crowd. So come on, give me a bid to start. 50, got it now 100. At $50 now 100. At 50 labels 100. Will you give me 100? I got it now 100 and a half. At 100 and a half? 100 and a half. Yes, she's got it back in Baltimore. Good enough. Baltimore's in the swim now. Now 200. 200, I got it now and a half. At 200 and a half. 5 right down there. I have 500 there. At 500 now 5 and a half, will you? At 500, 5 and a half. You all down to 500? 5 and a half, anybody?
Okay, 1,500.
600, I got it. Now 7. Well, 6 and a half then. Are you all done to 600 labels? Where, do you have it? 600 now and a half. Are you all done? Where was the 600 here? 650 right here, now 7. At 650, now 7. She has it. 650, 75, now 7. 675, 7, I got it. And sold to the man right down there, providing. Now, you had this once before, but New York beats you out. Let's see if you're lucky this time. Let's check our phone. Your bid is 700. 700 is what the man has bid for the $150 money order and the JB watch band. New York, what is your highest bid?
$17.50.
The man's beat again. $17.50. Boston, your highest.
$1,500.
That's getting close, isn't it, huh? Philadelphia.
$800.
$800. Baltimore. $1,500. That's close, too. Washington.
I also have $1,500, Jack.
You had $1,500, too. The man or woman in New York got it. What's the name, please?
Mr. Henry Binder,
where is it?
930 Grand Concourse, Bronx.
Fine. Does Mr. What was his name again now?
Henry Binder.
Henry Binder. Does Mr. Does Mr. Binder, does he have his labels there at home? Please check.
Labels there. He's checking.
Because he has to have his labels there because we have a bonded representative that knocks right on his door, see, and asks
She's
him that.
checking.
She's checking, huh? Find out if he does that because that's all important, of course.
Let's see.
He does, huh?
He does.
Okay,
Yes.
fine. Then we'll go on out there and get them from him in just one moment on the station. Coming up, another call now. Still another call. This time, Rebel Randall. Whom did you choose?
We're all ready with Mrs. Ida Morano of 271 Oakland Avenue, Staten Island, New York.
Now, Mrs. Morano is the one who wrote the poem, isn't she?
That's exactly right.
I've got to read this poem. It's kind of cute. She says, Dear Jack, enjoy your show, enjoy your foods. Entering your contest, got nothing to lose. Oh, okay. Hello, Mrs. Morano. How are you tonight? You watching your screen now? Oh, that's good. Okay, Mrs. Morano. I'm going to play once again my mystery chant. You've heard it, haven't you? You've got an answer, I suppose, already fixed in your mind, haven't you? Well, if it's correct, of course, you win the 1949 Chrysler four-door sedan. Set to try? Okay, Mrs. Morano, here's our mystery chant.
At 20 to the 5, the 5, the 5, 20 to the 5, 21. Now 21, I got it out 2. Now 2, now 3, now 4. Now 4, now 5. 5, I got it and so.
There it is. There it is. What do you say, Mrs. Morano? 100 and what? 116? Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry, Mrs. Morano. That wasn't right. But at any rate, accept with the compliments of Libby, if you will, please, this full case that will be on its way right tonight to your home and to your family's table of some wonderful Libby's fruit cocktails. Think you'll enjoy them. Bye now. And now, don't forget, folks, you too can enter that contest and get your name in the fishbowl, and we may draw it out. All the world you have to do is send us a penny postcard. On it, put your name, your address, the local television station's call letters, and your telephone number. Send it to Libby Auctioneer, in care of the American Broadcasting Company, New York City, New York. We're on our way now with still another auction, and this time, this one is for you folks at home. That's all, just you folks at home. Here's something that I think you're going to go for, too. We'll let Glenn Riggs talk about it.
Yes, Muntz Television, with the amazing one-knob picture control and the mammoth 16-inch picture tube. Just select your station, and there's your sound and picture, instantly, perfectly, automatically. Muntz also has the built-in aerial, so no antenna is necessary in most areas. It's really the last word in television, and it's worth $350.
It's worth $350. Now remember, you folks at home are in on this. This is for you only. Get on your phone now. Call your correct number. It's the Muntz television receiver. And incidentally, I saw the World Series game this afternoon on that Muntz television receiver, and I must say the Yanks never looked better. So give us a bid to start at how much, anybody? 2,000. Where is that 1,000 bid from? From Boston. We had a 1,500 label bid from New York. Well, the 2,000 bid, however, was from Boston.
2,100.
2,100 from New York.
2,508.
Play it along, girls. What do you have?
3,008.
3,008 Libby labels from Washington, D.C. All right, then. And what do you have back in New York?
2,900.
2,900. What do you have over here again?
5,000, Jack.
5,000. Be sure and check as you go and make certain they have those Libby labels in their home. If they have 5,000 there, they must not have a family, because you couldn't have a house big enough for that.
6,000.
6,000 over there in New York. I have 6,000 in New York, and I've got to sell pretty soon. What do you have?
11,100.
11,100 Libby labels from Baltimore.
12,500.
Can you imagine? Now, incidentally, so you'll understand this, folks, each and every one of these calls, if they are the highest bidder, they are verified. They must have the labels, or else they will not get the item that we're selling, which in this case the television set.
12,500.
12,500.
15,000.
All right, raise it if you can.
15,000.
Raise it. What did you have in Boston?
12,500.
12,500 I have. Hurry now because I got to
20,000.
sell it.
1,500.
20,000.
1,500.
1,500, we're going backwards. All right, I've sold it. Now check your phone calls.
20,000.
Check your phone calls. I'll ask for you as I go along. New York.
20,000.
Hold that bidder. I want to get a picture of him. 20,000. What's Boston?
7,500.
7,500. What's Philadelphia?
1,500.
1,500. What's in Baltimore? 11,100. Washington.
I also have 20, Jack.
You have 20 also? All right, I'll give you 10 seconds to raise the bid. You both got your parties on the phone.
25,000, Jack.
25,000 says Washington. What does New York say? Hurry, 10 seconds. You got 5 seconds left. Raise the bid in New York if you can.
20,000. 15,000.
Hurry up, I'm giving you the chance. I sold it to Washington, and that last bid was how much? That last bid was 25,000. Last bid was 25,000. Give me the name. The name is Mrs. Jones. Where's the address, please? In Washington. I want the address. I must have the address. If they won't give the address, we'll sell to New York. We must have the actual address because this has to be bona fide. There can be no fooling. You must have your label.
Jack, they're contacting me again. Hold on just a moment. They're trying to contact
Well, I haven't got time. You go ahead. You contact them. For the moment it's sold in Washington,
Jack.
take the telephone number and the name. Boston is too late. Of New York, because that was the next to highest bid. Hold it now for the moment. Hold it, get the name and the number, and we'll go on from there. Contact as soon as you can Washington. Find out that address. If not, we will go back then, of course, to our other one. All right, still selling at auction now. This one is for both you folks here and the folks at home watching their television sets. Folks, guess what we're going to sell? I have 2 tickets to the 5th game of the World Series. And you can buy them at auction by Libby Labels. Now you start the bidding. It's where we wind up, not where we start, that counts. 2 tickets. 5 tickets. All right, honey. Where are you from? You've been bidding 5 tickets all night long. Come on up here. Have you got 5 tickets in your hand? Would you like to see the World Series? You come on up here. I've sold them. Come here. What's your name? Come on over here now so we can get this thing understood right. What's your name?
My name is Jenny Clevernock. I didn't know that you have to save the tickets from a long time ago. I just took the tickets from today.
So you just got
yes,
5?
Yes, 5.
All right. Have you ever seen a World Series game in your life, Jenny?
No, I didn't, but I'll give it to my son, and he was dying to see it.
I bet he is. How old is your boy?
He's 32.
I got, now wait a minute. My ma's got a boy about that age. That's right, and that's not all.
He's got 2 children.
What is that?
He's a married man.
He is, and he's got 2 children?
Yeah.
How nice. I got a boy 3 years old, you know.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, sure. Okay, well, I'll tell you what now, Jenny. Rebel, come over here, please, and count these labels. I want these count these labels now, Rebel. 1.
Uno,
Dos.
tres, cuatro, cinco.
Is that 5?
That's exactly
Okay, you got the World Series tickets. You
Yeah,
come
very
right on up after the game, and I'll give them to you. Thank you. There she goes. Now you folks go home. You wouldn't blame me for that, would you? All right, now, let's get along with one more call. We've got
We have
time.
Mrs. Gilmartin standing by, Jack. Hello? Hello?
This is Mrs. Martin, and where does she live?
She's just liable to faint.
Yeah. Where does she live?
East Lynn, Massachusetts. She's here, Jack. Hold
East Lynn, Massachusetts. Hello, Miss Martin. How you doing? Did you see the lady just on there a minute ago? Did you see her? Didn't she have a cute fuzz on the top of her hat there? There. Okay. Well, so now, Mrs. Martin, here is our Libby chant, our mystery chant. Add it up if you can. Add it quickly. And tell me its answer for the 1949 Chrysler sedan.
At 20 to the 5, 20 to the 5, 21. Now 21, I got it out 2. Now 2, now 3, now 4. Now 4, now 5. 5, I got it and sold.
What's your answer, Mrs. Martin? Hurry, Mrs. Martin. What is your answer, Mrs. Martin? I can only wait 3 seconds more. What did you say? 92. I'm sorry, Mrs. Martin, that's not right, but a case of Libby products to you in the morning, and thank you very much. Don't forget to put your name and address on a postcard and send it to, along with your telephone number and the address of your, or not the address, but the call numbers of your local television station. Send it to the American Broadcasting Company in care of Libby Auctioneer. And now, folks, while you viewers at home and you here in the studio audience are checking your Libby label balance, here is a song of interest to you.
When you go to the store, turn in Libby's direction. Look to Libby's for perfection. Twice rich tomato juice is the selection. Look to Libby's for perfection. Twice rich tomato juice, take my tip, is rich in vitamins and tasty zip. And when you drink it, you'll want some more. So I say again, as I said before, twice rich tomato juice is the selection. Look to Libby's, Libby's for perfection.
Oh, that's good enough. Well, now, folks, don't forget that next week, same time, same station, another edition of the Libby Auctioneer. And at that time, incidentally, you're going to have a chance to buy with your Libby labels a Kelvinator refrigerator, a set of Gorham sterling silver, a Tappan gas range, and a pony for the kitty in your home, and many, many other wonderful things. Glenn Riggs.
Yeah, that's right, Jack. But if you're in New York or vicinity and would like to attend this program in person, write for tickets to Auctioneer, ABC, New York. Please be sure to say in your letter how many labels you have. And if you want to have an opportunity to total up our mystery chant and perhaps win this Chrysler car, just send a postcard to Auctioneer, ABC, New York, giving us your name, address, and telephone number. Employees of the sponsor, their advertising agency, this network, or their families are not eligible to bid or win merchandise on this program.
But of course, everybody... 20 to the 5, the 5, the 5, 20 to the 5, will you do it?
Listen to the Libby word of cheer.
20 to the 5, the 5, the 5, 20 to the 5, do we hear it?
Watch that man with the gavel in his hand. Stock your pantry with the Libby brand. Delicious fruit cocktail, corned beef hash, tomato juice with the extra dash. Tear off the labels and use them like cash. Join the fun and bid for a wonderful prize. When the
He got cut off because the time was running out, and Libby's cleaned up at the market. But you know what, Steve? You figure some of these people, that Mudd's TV, what do you think a Mudd's TV sold for in the stores in 1949?
Oh, goodness. In 1949, and my guy Ray Eaton, who was in here earlier tonight, he has a collection of classic sets upstairs. Probably you're looking in the neighborhood of at probably $600 to $800 for a black and white.
$600 to $800. I took out because I'm terrible in math. I took out my trusty calculator and multiplied 25,000. What do you think the average cost of a Libby's can of peas was in 1949? Maybe 15, 20 cents at the most, 25 cents?
Yeah, I'd say probably maybe in the realm of 19 cents, something like that.
Okay, well, I figured high. I figured 25 cents. 25,000 labels at 25 cents is $6,200. That's what they spent to buy a $600 or $800 television set. eBay was alive and flourishing on television in 1949. What a waste of a studio audience. Did you notice that unless Jack Gregson said we're going to let somebody from the studio audience bid on this, nobody from that audience won?
No, and I think, they needed to have, by today's standards, they needed to have a much more active warm-up floor director guy to get those people more in a frenzy for this.
Yeah, well, and somebody emailed me and said that this might have been the second episode because they saw that the World Series tickets were given out, and October 7th they came up with, which would have been the second week on the air the Auctioneer was on. Jack Gregson was a very, very good host, considering what he had to do, move around that stage. They cut him off at the end because they had to get the Libby's jingle out there one more time. But and that Rebel Randall, she's an actress. She's in a bunch of Three Stooges shorts. So it wasn't just a totally unknown thing. I'm wondering whatever happened to Jack Gregson, if he had a career in television, or did you hear hide nor hair of him after that show?
I don't think it's an MC, but I seem to recall at one point in time doing an IMDb search on him, and I think he did appear as an actor. in some other things. But for the most part, a lot of these people who did these, and you got to remember also, in the big markets like New York and Los Angeles, there were a huge number of locally produced game shows, some of which would spawn MCs that went on to national exposure.
It's funny that you mention that because the show after the next one is indeed a local LA show. We'll get to that in a second. We must press onward. I want to get this show off the air before 3 hours are up, and we've got 3 more great game shows to show people. Now, one of the most underrated game show hosts of the 50s, in my opinion, was Bert Parks. I don't have a lot of kinescopes of him, but the ones that I do, he's energetic, he's passionate, he's enthusiastic, he is a great host, and he was very underappreciated and not really remembered for anything today except the damn beauty pageants. Well, here we're going to have a Break the Bank episode from 1951. This, again, is an episode I've had in the archives for years, never put it out on Shoka's video. 1951 NBC, that show changed networks several times during the 50s, but tell everybody who the announcer is on the show and give us a little bit of background, and then we'll run this.
Well, it's Bud Collyer.
Bud Collyer from To Tell the Truth. Now, he was already hosting Beat the Clock by then, right?
Yeah, and of course had gained his initial fame as the voice of Superman on radio.
Yeah.
And he did that for many, many years. Of course, while To Tell the Truth was still on CBS, he came back and did the voice of the Superman cartoons, the new ones that were produced in the mid-1960s.
Yes, by that wonderful animation studio Filmation, which was one rank above the Clutch Cargo cartoon.
but nonetheless, Bud really was a prolific announcer and MC. I mean, we know him for Beat the Clock and To Tell the Truth above everything else, but he did an extraordinary number of shows such as Feather Your Nest, On Your Way. Then he did Number Please that was immediately after Beat the Clock went off the air, and that was the replacement on ABC when it was canceled. And, by all rights, he probably wouldn't have been the host of To Tell the Truth because Mike Wallace of 60 Minutes fame had done the pilot, but there was an executive at CBS that just wasn't crazy about the fact that Mike had done these really controversial interviews, and he thought he was just not right for it. So Bud was actually a compromise choice for To Tell the Truth, but he was doing 2 primetime shows at the same time on CBS. So you get to see him in a different light here as the sidekick of Bert Parks, and I extraordinarily agree with you, Stu. I think he is one of the most underrated MCs that we ever had in game shows. Unfortunately, a lot of the critics referred to him as the guy with the toothy smile, and that he was considered to be the guy that everybody was trying to emulate. I don't agree with that. I think that Bert was just Bert. That was his natural personality, and I think it really comes through on this episode.
I agree wholeheartedly with you. The person with the toothy smile that took Bert's place was Wink Martindale.
Well, that's true, and our friend Jeff Edwards always had a way to grin at the camera whenever things went wrong as well.
That's right, but that's a different kind of grin. All right,
I think everybody's going to really enjoy this one, Stu.
I think so, too. So we're going back to 1951, NBC primetime television, Break the Bank with Bert Parks.
Ipana toothpaste for your smile of beauty, and Vitalis, live action Vitalis to keep your hair well groomed, present Break the Bank. And now with $2,550 in tonight's Ipana and Vitalis Bank, here is your quizmaster, Bert Parks.
Another session of Break the Bank. And incidentally, our time-honored question, how many of you in our audience would like to break the bank? Would you? I placed at that time they couldn't say
That's
no.
right,
Yes, sir. And ladies and gentlemen, of course, you know this young man already, our host, Bud Collyer. Let's welcome him.
Here's a couple. The young lady has told me that they just lived the longest week in their lives.
Yeah?
They're holdovers from last week, Bert, you remember? Lieutenant and Mrs. Robert Price of Needham Heights, Massachusetts.
Well, good. God, we can have the attractive lady right in center. All right, Lieutenant. Now, Why don't you, yeah, that's it, honey. And Mr. Price, you get right over there. How's that? Makes a nice, pretty picture. Now, you say that this has been a kind of a hectic week for you. How come? Huh? You been worrying about this thing?
This is taking a combined operation to complete so that we could get back here.
Oh, well, yes, you remember last week, Lieutenant and Mrs. Price weren't quite sure whether they could come back on the show. What rocks did you have to move in order to be able to come back?
Part of the Boston Naval Shipyard.
Did you go to the Commandant and present the case to him?
Didn't have to get quite that far.
You didn't go through channels, in other words, huh?
We had to go through some channels, yes.
Well, I'm awfully glad to see you both back. As you remember, Lieutenant Price, I believe, was on an expedition with Admiral Byrd at one time. Is that right? Well, it's very nice to see you both back. Incidentally, they're at $300. They are reaching for $500. They have made one mistake so far. The bank is worth $2,550. So remember, one mistake. Listen very closely. Here is your question. Reaching for $500, the gateway to the bank. Now, how would you like to go floating through the air on a flying horse? In Greek mythology, there was just such a horse. He was said to have sprung from the head of Medusa when her head was struck off by Perseus. Now, can you name this flying horse of Greek mythology?
Pegasus.
Pegasus is right! Good! Now, wait. Well, we're getting off to a real exciting start. Lieutenant and Mrs. Price are now at $500, reaching for $2,550. One mistake so far, so this one will decide it. Are you ready?
Yes.
One answer is all we can take, and remember, the first answer we hear before the bell rings is the one that counts. Okay. In the strange and exciting adventures of Sinbad the Sailor, he has two experiences of being carried through the air by birds. One was an eagle. The other was called what? No coaching?
A rock.
Rock! You bet! You really deserve it. Those were really some pretty difficult questions. Congratulations to you, believe me, from Ipana and Vitalis. Lieutenant Mrs. Price, we'd like to ask you our time-honored question now. What would you like to do with that money? I'll start with the lady.
Well, we have decided, in case we did win, that we would save it, and it would be a nice down payment on a house in the future.
It certainly would be a nice down payment on a house.
It certainly would.
Well, that's fine. Where are you from originally, Miss Price?
Jefferson City, Tennessee.
Jefferson City, Tennessee.
That's right.
And Lieutenant, I'm sure that you agree with Mrs. Price on exactly what to do with that money. Is that right?
We've come to unanimous conclusion.
Do you have any children, by the way?
We have two.
do.
You have two children. Where are you living now?
We're in Needham.
In an apartment, are you?
No, we have a house.
You rented a house, and this is going to go towards building your own little nest for yourself, huh?
right.
Well, believe me, all of us, our sponsors, Bristol Myers, and all of us on the show, wish both of you the best luck in the world. And here's Janice, our paying teller, with a blank check to be made out to the tune of $2,550. Congratulations.
Have fun this summer, but protect your hair against damaging effects of sun, wind, and water with Vitalis.
In the summertime, it's fun to stay all day out in the sun, to swim or to make a mashy shot.
It sure is fun, but the sun is hot.
So in the summertime, take care of your handsome head of hair. Get Vitalis.
That hot summer sun bakes a fella's hair, dries out natural oils, and extra showers, wind, and water damage hair, too. Guard your hair with Vitalis and the famous 60-second workout. You see, Vitalis contains two of the same ingredients many skin specialists prescribe for scalp and hair that keep them from drying out.
Shake on Vitalis, massage it well. That tingle in your scalp, it sure feels swell. Give your hair a careful part. Now take a look, it's mighty smart.
You'll feel the difference in your scalp. She'll see the difference in your hair.
Get Vitalis.
Fine lieutenant and his wife broke our bank for $2,550. A brand new bank is started, a brand new $1,000. And Bert, coming up here is a wonderful family I'd like you to meet.
Do my eyes deceive me?
You're
Come here,
trouble,
boys.
Boy. Come on over here.
When you face that camera, my goodness sake. That's right. If you think think there's something wrong with your screen. Believe me, there's nothing wrong. These boys are really identical twins.
They sure are. And their names are Jeffrey and Bruce, and this is the fine, proud parents, Mr. and Mrs. Clarence Ellis of Washington, D.C.
Hello,
Say
Mr.
hello,
Ellis.
Bert. How are you?
Are these your only children?
That's right.
Well, my God, as you know, I have twin boys, too.
I know you have.
Just a little younger than these fellas. How old are you, son? 6.5. Can we have that microphone down a little bit? That's it. You won't see the microphone in the picture. It's all right. You're 6.5. And how old are you? 6.5, too. Good. Boys, how's it feel to be on television?
Fine.
I mean, are you frightened at all?
No.
It's fun. Would you like to sing? Would you like to perform or do it? You wouldn't like to do that. How about you? None of your favorites? Well, we'll see. Now, suppose your mom and papa break that bank for $1,000. Would you want to sing and dance then?
No.
She's going. Huh? I bet he would, too. Okay, now, Mr. and Mrs. You stay right there, boys, and if you know the answers to any of these questions, you can tell us, okay? All right? I think I'll ask them the first question. Do you mind? We're going to talk about Watch the Clock. Now, fellas, here's the question. Your category is Watch the Clock. The bank is worth $1,000. This one is for $10. Now, we'll just give them this $10. You got to split with them. You understand? Okay, all right. Now, here is a rhyme I want you to listen to. It goes like this. Hickory dickory dock. The mouse ran up the clock. The clock struck 1. The mouse ran down. Hickory dickory dock. They've got it. Good. All right. Why, our twins are pretty smart, aren't they, brother?
All right.
Yes, sir. All right, now, you're at $10. You're reaching for 20. Now, a good time was had by all in this tune coming up, but it's getting late. So Peter Van Steeden and the orchestra are going to tell us just what time it is. Music, Pete.
3
o'clock in the morning. That's it. All right, you're now at $20. And you're reaching for 50. Big Ben is the name of one of the most famous clocks in the world. It ticks off the hours for the people of what great world capital?
London.
London it is for $50. But would you escort this nice family over there for just a minute? Because we have a little
right over here.
device going up here. We'd like to sing you a tune about a nice little man who had a clock that just wouldn't behave. And after I'm through, we're going to ask you a question. So, little music, Pete, if you will. There was a man like you and me, as simple a man as a man could ever be. And he was happy as a king, except for one peculiar thing. He had a clock that worked all right. It worked all right, but not exactly quite. Instead of going tick-tock, tick, the crazy clock went tock-tick-tock. The poor old man just raved and raved because nobody could say why his silly clock behaved the hickory-dickory way. But now a famous man is he. He owns a public curiosity. From far and wide the people flock to hear the syncopated clock.
The experts came to hear and see, but none of them could solve the mystery. They called Professor Einstein too. He said, there's nothing I can do, but soon the fickle human race will find another freak to take its place. And one fine day the man will hock the poor old syncopated clock.
Wonder who that was singing. But I knew it. Okay, now the question I have for you is in the lyrics of that song, they called a famous scientist to fix the clock. There was nothing he could do. Who was he?
Einstein.
Professor Einstein, that's right, okay. Now, According to the words of a famous old-time song, this clock stood 90 years on the floor, but it stopped short, never to go again, when the old man died. Can you give me the title of that sad old ballad? Very famous song. It stood 90 years on the floor. What kind of clock would that sound like to you, huh? Would you know what kind of an old clock that would be,
Hickory Dock?
Who? No, that was the first question. Okay, any idea? 5 seconds, huh?
No.
Grandfather's clock. All right, there's one mistake. You're back to 50, reaching again for 100. Now, you'll have to watch the clock closely in this next tune because there's a time of day mentioned in the title. Listen and give me that exact time of the day. Pete? Have you any idea? Mr. and Mrs. Clarence Ellis of Washington, D.C. and their twin boys, Jeffrey and Bruce. It's called A Quarter to Nine. It's called About a Quarter to Nine. It's been a great pleasure to welcome all of you here. Here's Janice, our paying teller from my panel. Wait a minute, the money, my goodness.
That's not the little boy.
Yeah, how about it, son? And don't forget to get your $10. All right, fellas, let's give them a nice hand. Thank you.
$50 to the bank, Bert. It's now worth $1,050. And coming over now are two charming ladies. One is Mrs. Ethel Whitcomb of Hialeah, Florida. The other, Mrs. Esther Anders of Levittown, Long Island. Say hello to Bert Clark.
How do you do?
Hello.
How are you? Let me see. You are Mrs.
Whitcomb.
Ms. Whitcomb, and you are Mrs. Anders.
Anders.
Well, that's fine. Ms. Anders, you're from Hialeah?
No, I'm from
Oh, you're from Hialeah, and you're from Levittown. Well, how do you ladies know each other?
Well, she's visiting me.
She's visiting you?
Yes.
Well, that's fine. How's the weather down there in Hialeah, Florida?
Oh, it's wonderful.
Is it?
Yes.
Where's Mr. Whitcomb tonight? Couldn't he join us?
No, he's flying for Pan American.
Oh, a
He
pilot,
flies
you mean?
to New York.
Oh, I see. Well, now we're going to talk to you about fine feathered friends. You like birds, do you?
Yes, I do.
Good. Did you have any birds in your house?
No.
Do you?
No, I have 6 dogs. That's enough.
Well, fine feathered dogs they probably are, huh? That's probably why you picked it, all right? Now, we're going to make a bird watcher out of you anyway and see if you can identify these feathered friends' real-life song and story. Now, for $10, Jimmy Stewart spread the welcome mat for a certain bird a couple weeks ago. This bird was passing his homestead and left a pair of twins. What bird? Jimmy Stewart's house. What bird leaves children?
Stork.
The stork. That's right. All right. Now, $10, reaching for 20. Pete and the boys have a little birdie perched there in one of their saxophones, and the name of the song will give you the bird. Listen, let's have it. What's that? Sparrow in the treetop. That's fine. You're now at $20. Now we got a real treat for you, Bud. Would you escort these lovely ladies over there? Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, a real treat for you. One of the most unusual things I've ever seen. I'm sure you'll agree. It's a sensational group of performing birds. Oh, here they are, the spectacular Hammond Birds, right here.
A little waltz for our first night. A little waltz, Jake, little boy. Thank you. All right, that will do. That's enough waltzing. Back to your places. Hey, just a moment, old boy. We've had enough waltzing. Thank you. Your place, if you please.
Say, Bob, they're really glad
Yes,
to
Bert.
see you, Bob Hammond. You know, I've heard so much about these birds of yours. I've heard that they even can count. Is that
yes,
true?
that's right.
Well, now, could I see a demonstration
Surely,
and all our
certainly,
folks
right
in the television audience?
All right.
They really can count.
Well, we'll see.
All right, fine.
Billy, would you mind stepping down here, please? Like
Billy?
a nice little gentleman. Thank you. And let's have a nice polite bow for everyone. By the way, Bert, what number would you like him to count?
Well, let's start number 3.
3?
Number
All right. 3, if you
Okay.
please, Billy. Hey, just a moment, old boy. We're asking Billy to do the counting. Thank you.
Yes.
Suppose you give him another number.
All right, I'll give him a hard one this time. How about number 6?
6?
Number
Okay,
6.
all right, Billy.
Yeah.
6, if you
Number
please.
6. Wait a minute, that's only 4.
That's right. He made a mistake, didn't he?
and gentlemen, we watched this next little act in our rehearsal this afternoon. I'm telling you, it's, to me, one of the most unusual I've ever seen. While Bob Hammond is setting up a castle, you're going to see a war scene done by these birds in which an American bird goes into the castle. There's going to be, oh my goodness, bells ringing, there'll be fire, flags raised, and so forth. But you watch it, so here's Bob Hammond and his birds. Okay, Bob?
All right, thank you, birds. Our little American bird steals its way within the fort. Right there, boy. Yes, sir. Let's go, Dave. Let's get it out there. That fire in there. Let's get that door open. Hurry. Down with the enemy flag, old boy. Let's raise the American superstar. Please, that's the boy. Yes, sir.
Boy, where are we in the show here? Oh, yes. Wasn't that really a wonderful little act? Now, when those birds were waltzing, can you remember what was the name of the waltz that they were dancing to? Merry Widow Waltz. That's right. You're now at $50, reaching for 100. Now, those rare birds that you saw there come all the way from Australia. They are the gregarious woodland birds, which usually eat seeds, insects, and sometimes your finger. What kind of birds are they?
Cockatoo.
Cockatoo. Good for you for $100. One of the greatest laugh thrillers of all time is The Cat and the Canary, a movie version which dates back a number of years, which featured Paulette Goddard and a famous comic. He played the lead opposite Paulette in The Cat and the Canary. A famous comedian who played opposite Paulette Goddard in The Cat and the Canary. 5 seconds to go. Any idea who it was? Famous comic. Famous comedian. Famous now. What's that? Bob Hope, that's right. All right, you're now at, gee, we're having a spinning board tonight. You're at $200. Oh, boy, $200 reaching for $300. Now, here's a little musical tribute to one of America's well-known game birds. Listen to Peter Van Steeden. Okay, here we go. Seconds to go. Here comes Wimp.
Oh, I know it. I can't.
That's his name. Any idea? I'm sorry, his name was Bob White.
Oh.
Bob White. All right, you're back to $100, reaching again for 2. Listen to this quotation from the Bible that tells us that Noah sent forth 2 birds. Listen. And he sent forth a certain bird which went forth to and fro until the waters were dried up from off the earth. Also he sent forth another bird from him to see if the waters were abated from off the face of the ground. Now I want you to name both of these birds from that famous quotation in the Bible. Any idea at all? 5 seconds to go.
The pigeon?
No, I'm sorry. It was the raven and the dove. But it's been a great pleasure to welcome you both. Here's Janice, our paying teller, with $100 for the compliments of Ipana and...
How sparkling can you be? Listen. Honey, what makes your teeth so bright?
The answer is Ipana.
You've got a date most every night.
The answer is Ipana.
For cleansing teeth and gum.
By gum.
The answer is Ipana.
Yes, the answer is Ipana. Remember, no other toothpaste, ammoniated or any other, has ever been proved more effective for fighting tooth decay than Ipana. So whoever you are, start each day with Ipana toothpaste to get your teeth cleaner, to bring out the sparkle of your smile, and to help prevent tooth decay.
You'll love Ipana's sparkling taste and tingle, too. Enjoy the minty flavor that leaves mouth fresher, breath sweeter.
For cleansing teeth and gum.
By gum.
The answer is Ipana.
How sparkling can you be?
The answer is Ipana.
Add sparkle to your smile of beauty. Get Ipana toothpaste.
Contestants won $100. Ipana and Vitalis added a like amount to the bank. It's now worth $1,150.
It sure is.
This is Mr. and Mrs. Robert Vorse of Leominster, Massachusetts.
Hello, Miss Vorse.
Hello to Bert Park.
Vorse, glad to see you. My goodness. Come on in here and tell me what brings you to New York City.
On our honeymoon.
You're on your honeymoon. You were married when?
Saturday.
Saturday, that's fine. What do you do, Mr. Vorse?
I'm a student. Western Mass College of Pharmacy.
Oh, well, when do you graduate?
I got 3 years left.
3 years. You're in the pharmacy thing? Well, of course, one of the requirements for being a graduate pharmacist is carry your Ipana when they hand you your diploma.
Right.
Okay? All right. Now, you know, we're going to talk about roses for remembrance. This seems to be a wonderful category for you. Some fellows send a gal orchids when they want to be remembered. I like to send American roses. We're going to talk about roses in song, story, and poetry, and then we'll see how many things you remember about roses. Now, we're going to start with this familiar jingle. Roses are red, violets are blue, sugar is sweet, and
So are you.
so are you. That's right. For $10, now that's very simple. Reach for 20. Peter Van Steed and the boys are going to play a tune about a gal who's wild about roses. Listen and tell me the title. Peter? 1,000 Roses for $20 an hour. A great comedian who passed on just a few weeks ago introduced the well-known Rose of Washington Square. Do you know who she is already? She died just a few weeks ago. Fanny Bright. That's right. Fanny Bright. Are they at $20? Is that right? And they're reaching for 50. All right, here we go. Roses are a wonderful setting. It's like cranking up an airplane over there, isn't it? Yes, roses are a wonderful setting for romance. So Pete and the boys are going to play a tune that combines roses and something else. It spells out romance, too. Pete? Hey, they're getting a fine. Moonlight Roses at $50 now. Here is a lonely song that dates back to World War I. And listen and tell me where the roses are blooming. I bet you know right away. But here we go, Pete. Roses of Picardy at $100, and you're reaching for 200. The Rose Tattoo is a big Broadway hit. The author is the man who penned another great hit, titled Streetcar Named Desire. What's his name? He's the author of Rose Tattoo, also wrote Streetcar Named Desire. 5 seconds to go.
Mitchell. Last name Mitchell?
No, I'm sorry. His last name is Williams. His name is Tennessee Williams. All right, one mistake. You're back again to $100, reaching for 200. I'm going to sing you a few lines of one of the most beautiful songs ever written about a rose. 'Tis the last rose of summer, left blooming alone, and all her lovely companions are faded and gone. Now, these words were penned by a famous poet. The words to the last rose of summer, can you name him? The famous words of the last rose of summer by a famous, well-known composer and a famous poet. 5 seconds. Give it a try, huh?
You want the author?
Yes, the author of the lyrics. His name was Moore, M-O-O-R-E. But I want to tell you, it's a great pleasure to welcome you, Mr. and Mrs. Robert Vorse, from Vitalis and Ipana, $100. And from Janice the Paying Teller, good luck to both of you.
I love it.
Well, that means another $100 added to the bank. $1,250 there now. Mr. and Mrs. Frank Brizzy. Come right over here, if you will, please.
right.
From Arlington, Virginia. Bert, say hello to
Miss
Bert
Brizzy.
Park.
Glad to see you. Frank? Let me see. Mr. Brizzy, may I ask what your occupation is, please?
I work with Senator Kefauver.
You work with Senator Kefauver of Tennessee. Well, it's a great pleasure to welcome you. In what capacity, Mr. Brizzy?
I'm the legislative assistant.
Legislative assistant. Okay. Well, all right. Now, we're going to talk. We have a category here called Big Mistakes. You know, a great man once said, any man can make a mistake, but it takes a fool to stick to it. Now, would you step down here a little bit? We're going to get out of the light pretty soon. They'll think, you know, that the lights went out. Well, make no mistake about this. Your questions are all about big mistakes in real life, song, and story. For $10, this man thought he could discover a way to the east by sailing west. Do you remember who he was? Sure, Chris Columbus. That's right. You're $10, reaching for 20. Let's go through now, Alan. Time's a waste. We want to give these folks a chance. Okay, now this fellow made a Lollapalooza. He landed in Dublin after flying the Atlantic, and everybody thought he was going the other way.
Douglas Cargan.
Douglas Cargan, you're now at $20, reaching for 50. In the movie hit The Great Dictator, a whole nation made a colossal error when they mistook a little barber for the great dictator of their land. Now let's have a look at the star right here. Remember that? Charlie Chaplin it is. Okay, $50, reaching for I am sure you remember when the front pages were full of the story of a famous battleship which, because of a slight error in navigation, sailed right up on a sandbar in the Chesapeake Bay. Do you remember that? Missouri. The Big Mo. That's right, the Missouri. You're now at $100. No mistakes so far, doing fine. Now, before this famous British leader went into battle, he wrote a friend the following. There is no mistake. There has been no mistake, and there shall be no mistake. But his opponent that day made a big mistake. He was Napoleon, and he went down to defeat at the Battle of Waterloo. Now, who was the famous British leader who made no mistake on that fateful day?
Cromwell.
Beg pardon?
Cromwell.
No, sir, the Duke of Wellington it was. One mistake back to 50. Reaching again for 100. On election night in the year 1915, the Republican candidate went to bed certain that he was the new president of the United States. What a mistake. When he awoke the next morning, returns from California had come in and he found himself the defeated candidate. Who was this presidential candidate who made that big mistake? This was in the year 1915. 1915, the mistake was made. A Republican candidate. 5 seconds to go. 1915. Any idea? No. Oh, I'm awful sorry. It was Charles Evans Hughes, the man we're talking about. But it's been a great pleasure to welcome you from Janice our paying teller here. Don't wave your money. $50. Let's give them a nice hand.
Next week, our bank opens at $1,300. Break the Bank is brought to you by Bristol Myers Company, makers of Ipana toothpaste for your smile of beauty and Vitalis to keep your hair well-groomed. That's Ipana and Vitalis. And now a brief word about another fine Bristol Myers product.
When baby cries like this, because his delicate skin is irritated.
When you catch friend husband doing this because his feet are burning.
When you find your tender skin irritated and chafed by the rub of hot, tight clothing.
Get this. Ammons medicated powder. Ammons powder brings fast, happy relief because it contains 3 famous medicinal ingredients and gives you 3-way medicated skin care. 1. Relief. Ammons powder soothes, relieves, and helps heal irritated skin. 2. Protection. Ammons extra softness protects and cushions sore skin.
3. Comfort. Ammons extra fluffy texture gives cooling relief.
No ordinary unmedicated powder is so soothing, so healing for minor skin irritations as Ammons. For 3-way medicated skin care, get Ammons medicated powder at your favorite drug counter.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. This is Bert Park saying goodnight for Bud Collier, Peter Van Steen, and all the gang. Till next week at the same time. A bank is worth $1,300. We hope to see you back here, same place, same time. Thank you and good night.
NBC Television.
NBC Television. It was a little gurgly. Steve knows who I'm talking about, don't you, Steve?
Absolutely.
Don't say it. Don't say it. No. I'll tell you this much. Bert Parks loved to sing. I have never seen anybody so excited about being able to sing, and he did that on many of his game shows.
And if you ever caught that there was really a parallel between Break the Bank and Stop the Music, which he did shows, there really was, even though one was produced by Ed Wolf and the other one was produced by Harry Salter, but they incorporated music and named that tune elements into both shows. Actually, Stop the Music was on before Name That Tune, but Bert was the perfect, ideal host for both of those shows, just really full of personality, and you got to see Bud Collier. You got to hear Bud Collier sing a little bit on this one, too.
Yeah, that was really, really cool. All right, a couple of quick announcements. Again, I want to try to bring this show in under 3 hours, and we got 2 more game shows. Albert Sims in Louisiana. I know you're watching, Albert, and I think he's watching on Roku. And if not, somebody else, I think it was Tim in Cleveland that's watching on Roku. People that are watching on Roku TVs are not getting any ads. So those ads that Ustream places when you're watching on a computer or a tablet are not there. Another reason to get a Roku TV or a Roku stick if we decide we're going to do these television broadcasts more often. And what was the other thing I wanted to mention here? Oh, Albert also says, no, Albert was the one who said that he has an ad blocker on his browser, and apparently that works with the Ustream ads as well. Now, I don't know which ad blocker it is. Albert, if you send me an email directly between now and the end of the broadcast in a little less than an hour, comments@stewshow.com, tell me which ad blocker you've got, and I'll announce it so that people can try that the next time we broadcast, which will be Wednesday after the regular show. I'll tell you more about that at the end of the show. You can try it, see if that works. I hope that doesn't bounce us off the air on Ustream after that. I'm giving a plug to keep the ads from coming. I don't think there's anything you can do about the ad that you see when you first click on the feed, but hopefully it will at least cut down on the ones that are interrupting some of you. This is a regional thing. It doesn't happen to everybody. Just certain places around the country at certain times get those annoying ads. And I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do unless you become a VIP listener and contribute to the supporting of the show so that I can get the higher rated stream out there so that they cut the ads out. Now, we mentioned before Break the Bank, Steve mentioned that a lot of local cities did their own game shows with their own local personalities. What we have for you now is a local game show hosted by a national personality, Dennis James, who had recently in 1962 moved out here from all of those successful years in New York that he did game shows and talent shows on the Dumont Network, on ABC, CBS, and NBC. By the early 60s, Dennis James was a big television star. And he came out here in the early 60s to seek fame and fortune because he knew that television production was moving from the East Coast to the West Coast. It took him a couple of years, and in the couple of years that he was out here, he hosted a local game show out here called Beat the Odds. And this game show featured a character called Sammy the Whammy, which I think, and we'll go to Steve for this, is the forerunner of the whammies that you all know and love from Press Your Luck. This game show was produced locally by Bill Durman, and I think he at one time partnered with Bill Carruthers, and that's where the whammy connection happened. I'm going to turn it over to Steve right now, who will introduce this show. Just keep in mind, this was a nightly live show right here in Los Angeles on KTLA Channel 5, which at the time was still owned by Paramount Television. And now, Mr. Professor Beverly, take it away.
Well, when you talk about this, I think it's key to note the number of shows that started as local shows. Now, I won't give you an exhaustive list, but you think about You Don't Say that started in Los Angeles as a local show on KTLA with Jack Barry, but there was no way at that point in time a network was going to take a chance on him as a host. So Tom Kennedy got the job, and it became a huge hit for NBC. And you had others like Seven Keys that Jack Nars did both before and after it was a network show on local television in Los Angeles. And then Wink Martindale's What's This Song was originally called What's the Name of This Song as a local show in Los Angeles. That's how they really had a testing ground to see if they thought these shows would work as network shows. And there's probably what you see with Beat the Odds. They were probably looking at it at the same thing, but it was one of these shows that had to have some evolutions before we finally got to Press Your Luck in the 1980s. But I think you're going to enjoy Beat the Odds.
You will, and I should mention, too, that Beat the Odds ended up being syndicated around the country for a short time in 1968, and Steve can now tell you who the host of that was.
Well, Johnny Gilbert.
This is Jeopardy's Johnny Gilbert. He did a few game shows hosting in his lifetime, Music Bingo and a few others. Anyway, we're going to go back now to 1962, local KTLA television that's getting late. Now they can see me sweat as well as hear me. And take a look at Beat the Odds with Dennis James. And by the way, we should have mentioned that Steve turned his webcam around so we could see his actual studio. And there it is right there. That's his actual, not the studio, that's the control room that his students use to do Jackson 24/7. Anyway, you don't care about that. You want to see Beat the Odds with Dennis James. And I've just pressed the button, and now we're going to fade up on the show. Take a look.
Welcome to America's favorite game show, Beat the Odds. And now, meet the star of our show, Dennis James.
Thank you. Thank you. We're going to wind up another exciting week now because we have a champion who's in her fourth game tonight On this show, you know, you have to win 4 games in a row, and then you go for the big money jackpot. And we'll let you know what the jackpot is in just a moment. It's way up there, over $1,400. So, Stan, let's meet that champion and challenger.
Our champion, a homemaker from Riverside, Michelle Childress. And her opponent, an executive director of the American Institute of Hypnosis, Dr. Bill Bryan.
Oh, I'm sorry. How are you, Doctor? And how are you, Michelle? Nervous?
I don't know. I'm numb.
No, well, always in the 4th game, they get numb, because don't forget, if she wins this game tonight, she goes for a jackpot, which is worth tonight someplace in the neighborhood of $1,450. That's what she could win on Beat the Odds here tonight. But Dr. Bill Bryan sees it differently. Right now, he's at 500 on the board, frozen at 3, and Michelle has 0, and it's still the doctor's turn here when we start tonight. And let's get started.
All right, go ahead.
You have your bells here. You know what that's for. If you hear a repeat word or a proper noun, abbreviation, contraction, or hyphenated word, sound the bell. That stops the game. Any questions, hit the bell and stop the game. But any word not challenged goes through as an acceptable word. Ready to go?
Ready to go.
Now, you're at 500. You're frozen at 3, Doctor. What are you going to do?
Go ahead.
All right. We're off and running. All right. I want a word beginning with S and ending with L, 5 or more letters. I'm sorry, your time is up, Doctor. You're frozen at 500. That gives the champion a chance. Remember, you can go all the way from 0 to automatic 5. S-Y, 6 or more.
Savory.
Savory. And now you've got 100, Michelle. Are you going to 2?
Yes.
S-E, 5 or more.
Seize.
Seize. All right, now you've got yourself 200. Are you going to 3?
Yes.
A word beginning with W, ending with M, 6 or more.
Workman.
Workman. Now you've got yourself 300. Are you going to 4?
Please.
A-D, 6 or more.
Adulterated.
Adulterated. Now you've got 4 in a row. Are you going after the automatic 5?
What should I do? My husband says freeze.
All right, you're going to freeze. All right, I can tell you right now, Doctor, you could have stopped her along the way.
Three times, and I knew it.
We didn't get the official ruling yet from inside, but workman ends with an N, and it was W-M, but you did not challenge it.
I thought it was W-N. I didn't.
No, it was W-M like in man.
Oh, my.
All right, so she's at 400 now, bluffed her way through at least 2 of those.
Very good.
And Dr. Bill is at 5, and it's his turn.
All right.
SD, 5 or more.
Slated.
Slated. Now you've got 6, Doctor. You're going on.
Yes.
SG, 6 or more.
Snowing.
Snowing. Now you've got yourself 7. Are you going on?
Yes.
AG, 5 exactly. I'm sorry, sir. Your time is up. You're frozen at 7, and now it's Michelle's turn. We haven't seen a Sammy yet tonight. ET, 5 exactly.
Exact.
Exact. Now you've got 5. Are you going to 6?
That's some help. Exactly.
I didn't
Good
even,
deal.
I didn't even think of it.
I'm
I'll say exit then.
No, don't waste any words.
If you say that, you get challenged. That's 4.
ER, 5 exactly.
Error.
Error. Now you've got 6. Are you going to 7 to tie him?
Yes. Yes.
AG, 5 exactly.
Aping.
Aping. Now you're aping him because you're 7 and he's 7.
Very good. That's the one I missed.
3 in a row without a Sammy the Whammy. What are you going to do?
Freeze. I'm going to freeze.
All right, she freezes. It's tie score. That was quite a decision for her to make, remember, because this is her 4th game. If she gives him an opportunity now, what she's doing, and he goes out, he knocks her right off the throne, and at the end of this game, if she should win it, she goes for a jackpot worth $1,450.
You know, the funny thing is, you're so persuasive that that I'm rooting for her too. You know.
I'm not rooting for her. I'm only rooting for the game.
You're welcome. All right.
AD, 6 or more.
Added.
Added. Now you've added 100 and Isabel.
I'm sorry, Bill, but that's only five. I'm sorry, I'm challenging.
Are you challenging?
Yeah.
Yeah. It is. She's challenging based upon the fact
Added, it's only
it's
five.
only 5 letters, and we wanted 6 or more, so he loses that 100 points, and he's back to 600. And we're going to pause here and come right back. All right, now the tables have turned. When we started tonight, the doctor was at 500. Michelle, the champion, was at 0. Right now, she's at 700, and Dr. Bill is back at 600. Challenged back and lost 100. Now it's Michelle's turn. Here we go.
Yeah, we alternated.
ID, 5 or more.
Indicted.
Indicted. Now you're at 8, champion. Are you going to 9?
Yes, please, Dennis.
EY, 5 or more.
Eventually.
Eventually.
There you go.
All right. Now, are you going on?
What should I do? Go! Let it go.
All right, she was told to go. Now she needs 5 exactly to win the game, and I was about to make a comment. I won't even make the comment. Let's see.
Good luck.
AM, 5 exactly.
Annum.
Adam?
Annum.
Annum. All right, hold it a minute.
What's the spelling?
There's a bell.
A-N-N.
Wait, just a minute. Are you challenging first?
Yes.
All right, there's a challenge.
A-N-N-U-M.
Annum. A-N-N-U-M.
I think it's probably correct.
All right, we'll get a ruling from our word authority. If it is a word, she wins the game. Her 4th game will go for a $1,450 jackpot. If it is not a word, according to our Webster's New International Dictionary 3rd edition, she will drop back from 900 to 800. It'll then be the doctor's turn. I was about to say the comment I was going to make is we played that whole game without, it is not an acceptable word. It is not acceptable, so you drop back to 800. And now it's the doctor's turn. When she was at 9, I was about to say we didn't have one whammy yet tonight in this whole game. Do you realize that? All right, now it's your turn, Dr. Bill.
Well, give her another one.
SL, 5 exactly.
Smell.
Smell. All right, now you're at 7. You're going to 8.
Yeah.
And there's
There
our
you
first
go.
Sammy the whammy. Well, any
First
points,
whammy. Lucky
any
me.
points not frozen, you lose. So you lose the 700. You're back to 6, and it's Michelle's turn again. And she gets a Sammy the whammy. Now it'll start
They're
appearing.
showing up,
Here we
aren't
go,
they? They
yeah.
will
She
do
loses
that,
no
yeah.
points, but she was frozen at 8. Back to Doctor.
There you go.
EE, 5 exactly, sir.
Excite.
Excite. All right, and there's the bell. Are you challenging?
Yes, would you spell it, please?
There's a challenge in.
Six, isn't it? E-X-C-I-T-E.
Well, let's let the word authority check that.
It is.
And it's a not acceptable
I'll-
word. So Dr.
I'll give
Bill,
up on that one.
Dr. Bill drops back to 5. It's Michelle's turn again. This is a hot one tonight. And no, she gets a Sammy the Whammy. It's the doctor's chance again to knock her off the throne.
Let me see.
R-E, 5 or more.
Release.
Release. Now you've got 6. So you're going to 7.
Yeah, go ahead.
R-L, 5 exactly.
Right.
I'm sorry, your time is up, Doctor. You're frozen at 6. Back to Michelle.
Rebel.
6 to 8 it is now. WL, 5 or more.
Wheel.
Wheel. Now you've got yourself 9. Again, you've got a chance to win the game. Are you going on?
Yes.
All right, then
Please.
you'll need 5 exactly to do it. AM, 5 exactly.
Alum.
What?
Alum.
Alum. All right, and there's a bell. There's a bell. Now, are you challenging, sir?
Yeah.
How are you spelling alum?
A-L-L-U-M.
All right, that's a challenge in on alum, is it? A-L-L-U-M for
I think
5
it's one
exactly in Webster's New International Dictionary, 3rd edition. The doctor challenged because he thought it was 1 L. All right, so we'll wait for our ruling. We're meeting on this particular
It is
show.
something. Wow.
Michelle Childress, a homemaker from Riverside on my left. Her husband's name is Roy. She has 4 children. Tina, 6, Larry, 5, Suzanne, 5, Mark, 3. And it is not an acceptable word again. And this is her 4th game, remember. She would have gone for the jackpot if it were right, but she loses 100. She's back to 8. Doctor?
You know, it's funny. You can have 3 degrees and you still don't know whether a word's got 5 or 6 letters in it. It's really...
SD, 5 exactly.
sled. No.
Sled, I'm sorry. Once you say a word, the word is it. And that is your word. Are you challenging?
Yes. You
All
bet
right.
he is.
How you spelling it, Doctor?
Oh, dear. What can I make out of this? I don't think I can help myself. I think I'm gone.
You accept the challenge?
Yes.
All right, so the doctor drops back to 5
Give another
again.
chance at it.
And it's Michelle's turn.
How much you bet I get another AM?
No. You'll make it sooner or later.
IT, 5 exactly again.
Idiot.
Idiot.
Thank you very much.
All right,
I resemble that remark.
Not you, Doctor.
Now she's at 900. Again, she gets an opportunity to win the game. And if AM comes up, I think you're leaving. Are you ready? 5 exactly. Are you going on?
Yes, please, Dennis.
TR, 5 exactly.
Tenor.
Tenor, TENOR. Well, that's an exciting moment for Michelle Childress, because stand by. Once we bid Dr. Bill Bryan goodbye, she'll try for $1,450 in cash. Doctor, you're a good sport.
Thank you
Oh,
very
you're
much.
a
He's a
wonderful
hypnotist,
doctor.
too.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
All right, for you, sir, the Sammy the Whammy cufflinks by Krasny Jewelers to remember us by.
I certainly enjoy that. I have a collection of cufflinks, so I'm very happy to get
Right, also we have another gift for you waiting backstage.
Oh, really? Well,
Thank you very much, Doctor.
Thank
you. He's also studying law at night at USC Law School. All right, we'll be back for a $1,450 jackpot right after this minute or two. All right, there's a tense moment here on Beat the Odds. We have a young lady
Thank you.
who is going for a jackpot right now of $1,450. She plays against the board. Now, Michelle, you know the rules of the jackpot.
Yes, Dennis.
You have an opportunity to go from 0 to 1,000. If you do, you win a $1,450. Each word you get, and you must get each word 5 exactly, you get 100 points. If the Sammy the Whammy should come up, he doesn't work against you, he works for you. He advances you another 100 each time. If the double whammy comes up, you also advance 100 points and get your prize for the double whammy. Is that clear?
Yes.
But on the last word, you do need a 5 exactly to win. A whammy cannot make you win the game. All right, here we go for $1,450. Each word must be 5 exactly. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
RL.
Royal.
You've got 100. SL.
Still.
You've got 200. WR.
Waxer.
Waxer. You've got 300. ET.
Exist.
Exist. Now you've got 400. RY.
Randy.
Randy. Now you're at the halfway mark with 500. 5 more and you have $1,450. Just a moment. We have to stop it for a second. We get a ruling from inside. Perhaps there is no word, Randy. We'll wait and see. Would you please spell Randy?
R-A-N-D-Y.
R-A-N-D-Y is an acceptable word. All right.
Because it's your son's name.
Really? Well, that's what they thought. They thought it was a proper noun and needed time to find it. All right. Now, your next combination, are you ready?
Yes.
Is A-E. 5 exactly.
Alone.
Alone. Now you have 600. 4 more for 1,450. And there's a double whammy. All right, now you go to 700, you move 100 points automatically, and you get the very beautiful Technicolor Projector 2 as a very special prize for the double whammy. All right, Randy means lustful on page 1880 of Webster's New International Dictionary, 3rd edition. All right, let's not stop the game here. She's at 700. 3 more, and she gets $1,450. Here we go. And that's a Sammy the Whammy. That pushes you up to 800 now. It works for you, not against. Now you've got to go to 9. 5 exactly. R-R.
River.
River. All right, now she's at 900, and she's about to cross the river over from 9 into 1,000 for the full jackpot of $1,450. Are you ready?
I'm scared to death. Here I go.
Are you calm? E.M. 5 exactly. Oh, no, I'm terribly sorry. Let me explain to everybody looking in. You might say that was a tough combination to give her. We do not give it. I have the stop button, the start button here. She has the stop button here. And where she stopped it is where it came. She went 900 in a row and came up with a combination EM to stop her at the 900 mark. Thus, she does not win the $1,450 jackpot. Instead, she does take home a radio, an O'Keefe and Merritt disposal, a portable television set, and the full Metalcraft family room, and she takes home all our condolences, I tell you. May I kiss you and say I'm sorry? The whole country at this moment is rooting for you, Michelle, and they are just as sick. And we'll actually get letters that we should have given it to you, you know.
No,
those things will happen.
It was fair all the way.
Michelle, you were a great champion. Did you think of one yet, EM?
No.
Well,
I
maybe
thought of
they ought to...
Elium, but I don't think there's such a word. E-L-E-U-M, but I don't think there's...
Yeah, you should have used anyhow. We're going to say bye-bye to Michelle. We'll be back with our home game and 2 new contestants in just a minute or two. Yeah. Well, the tension sure mounted here on Beat the Odds tonight. That was a very exciting go at that jackpot. And I tell you folks at home, maybe you've already done it. There are words in the dictionary, EM, so you go to that dictionary and you find them, because I'm sure that Mrs. Childress will. But what a strange place for that combination to come up to her. It hadn't come up, I don't believe, in the whole game that she played against the doctor. But it was there, and it came at a very, very crucial moment. She had only one more to go for $1,450. But that's television, and that's what jackpots are. Now let's play our home game. Maybe make somebody at home happy. We'll start the wheels spinning. You folks at home will win one of these prizes tonight, definitely, and somebody could possibly win all 7 by getting the Lucky 7 grand prize. So, Stan, let's tell them what these prizes are, will you?
First of all, Dennis, the 35mm Wittenauer camera, complete with its own carrying case. Then, from Manus of Hollywood, this beautiful cashmere sweater graced with a lovely dyed beaver collar. If you don't know your furs, know your furrier. Then a complete movie outfit, camera, projector, screen, even reels and splicer, all from Remington. And a General Electric Daylight Blue portable television set, the clearest, sharpest, most lifelike pictures in TV. The sparkling chrome-top O'Keefe & Merritt Starline gas range with all the latest cooking conveniences, built-in griddle, glass door oven, and automatic signal timer clock. From United Artists, movie passes for an entire year with such outstanding entertainment as Billy Budd at 4-star United Artists. It's the greatest name in entertainment. And from Metalcraft, bunk beds, plus a matching dresser. And, of course, our grand prize, the Lucky 7.
All right, now somebody at home will win one of these prizes. I'll stop it, Susan. Now, one of these cards will have a letter circled on the title, Beat the Odds. This card was sent in by Bantins of California, and Mrs. Banton has circled the B. The B of Beat the Odds. That's what we're looking for, Susan. Let's find the B. Nope. 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 We're down to 1 and 5. No, sir, we're down to 1 and 4. And there it is. Or it had Mrs. Banton circled the D, she would have gotten the grand prize. But, Stan, what did she get?
It's the sparkling chrome-top O'Keefe & Merritt Starline gas range.
All right, now remember, we change these cards every single day, so keep your cards coming in so that you might win one of these prizes or all of them. Stan, tell them how to go about it with the cards, will you?
All you have to do to win these fabulous prizes is simply address a postcard to Beat the Odds, KTLA, Post Office Box 327, Hollywood 28. Circle one letter in the title. Be sure to print your name and address in the upper left-hand corner. Send in as many cards as you like. Remember, every night someone at home wins a fabulous prize. And now, back to the Dennis.
All right, now here we go. We meet 2 brand new people here on Beat the Odds. Ladies first, on my right is a very charming lady, and she is a homemaker from Billings, Montana, and she is Betty Rogers. Smile happily, Betty. too nervous? Well, that's all right. After you throw the first punch, you get the first Sammy the Whammy here. All things equalize. Now let's meet her opponent. A salesman from Hollywood, California, Stan Wagner. All right, now let's find out a little bit about... would you rather play the game first and we'll talk about this come Monday night? Let's play the game, and I'll give you a chance to get eased up, and then I'll tell them all about you on Monday night. You start first, Betty. So here we go. I want a word beginning with W, ending with T, 5 or more letters.
Wheat.
Wheat. All right, now you've got yourself 100 points, Betty. You both know about the bell for challenges. It's your turn. Do you want to go again? BR, 6 or more.
Better.
Better?
B-I-T-T-E-R.
Better. Okay, now you've got 200. Do you want to go for 3?
Yes.
IE, 6 or more.
Idolize.
Idolize. Now you've had 3 in a row without Sammy the Whammy. What are you going to do? You've got 300.
I think I'll freeze.
She's going to freeze. All right, Stan, I'll give you the chance to warm up a little bit here. TY, 5 or more.
Tyranny.
Tyranny. Now you've got 100, Stanley. Do you want to go to 2?
Yes, please.
IR, 5 exactly.
Eiler.
Eiler. Now you've got yourself 200. Do you want to go to 3?
Yes, please.
Okay. Now, even though I say it's okay, you people can still ring the bell. SR, 6 or more.
Starter.
Starter. Now you've got 3 in a row, too, without a Sammy the Whammy. What are you going to do?
I'll go.
All right, he's going to try to beat the odds. Last spin. And he did not beat the odds. Sammy the Whammy takes him and pushes him back. Plonk, 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 back to 0. So Monday night, when you join up with us, Betty Rogers will be at 300 and her turn against Stan Wagner, who tried to beat the odds just then and didn't. We'll see you then. Have a very pleasant weekend and go to church on Sunday. Bye now.
Contestants on tonight's show receive products from Chick, such as the Chick Ballerina, glamorous new lady shaver for fast, effortless feminine grooming, has surgical stainless steel washable head, start sharper, stay sharper longer. It's been live from Hollywood, Beat the Odds, America's favorite game show, seen every night, Monday through Friday, with prizes, fun, and a cash jackpot. Glad to be in the studio audience of Beat the Odds. You'll have a chance to win fabulous door prizes, such as Jungle Gardenia by Tubache, fragrant fragrance for the world's most beautiful women, Sarah Coventry jewelry, each set an original and exclusive design. Tickets to the Movieland Wax Museum in Buena Park, a giant Hollywood movie studio. Just call KTLA for tickets and join us Monday for Beat the Odds!
Oh my! With a little bit, with a little bit. Yeah, I remember watching that as a kid on KTLA because I grew up out here in the LA area for the most part. We moved down here when I was 4 years old from the San Francisco Bay Area. That show never did get a network, did it, Steve?
No, it was the Johnny Gilbert syndication version was it, and it's very slow. The one thing that they would have done differently today, there would have been a music track more in between while they were thinking over their answers.
Yeah.
Because it just got so quiet in there, and then also obviously a local show is not going to have the budget for the huge type of effects that you would have on a network show. So they were doing the best they could with the dollars they had.
Yeah, and as I said before we introduced the game, that Dennis James had just moved out to the LA area. I had Dennis's kids, Randy, which was a word on the show, and Brad a few years ago here, and things were bleak for him until PDQ came along in around 1964 or 65. He did a few things here and there, but PDQ put him back on the map and reestablished his career as a really good game show. And then, of course, we know after PDQ came the Nighttime Price is Right. Incredible career as somebody who started out in television in the 1930s. All right, we have to press along here now. Steve, before we introduce Beat the Odds, you mentioned Seven Keys with Jack Nars. That, too, was part of that KTLA game show. I don't want to say dumping ground. Maybe we should say testing ground. But here's the one thing I didn't know, and I guess you can elaborate on this. I know that they got an ABC network deal out of the testing at KTLA, but I didn't know that they went back to KTLA after the network canceled them.
Yeah, they did, and it was one of those situations that when Jack Nars, the host of the show, when he hosted a week of You Don't Say when it was an all-celebrity week, and Tom Kennedy, his brother, actually played the game that week with Pat Carroll, Abby Dalton, and Peter Lawford. What happened was that KTLA had picked up 7 Keys shortly before that, right after it went off the ABC network. So apparently they felt like there was still enough life in it as a local show, and there was some talk that maybe another network would possibly reconsider and pick it up again. But in the bottom line to it was one of those shows that ABC could not make a huge success out of because it was just, ABC still didn't have a huge number of affiliates, and it was placed in some just impossible time slots.
Yeah, I remember watching it as a kid and liking it. And when I met Jack, when he was hosting Concentration, I mentioned that I had a kinescope or two in the archives here when I was just starting to collect films. And it wasn't until years later that I had the equipment to transfer them to tape and give them copies, which he, of course, lost. And then when we reconnected at Game Show Congress about a decade ago, which, again, I thank you for bringing me into, by that point, DVD had came out, so I retransferred them. I had 3 shows, I think. I retransferred them to Jack, and he was real happy about it. Okay, so we're going to run 7 Keys now. This is from ABC. This is an actual videotape, too. This is from a 2-inch black and white videotape. It's got all the original commercials in it. It's even got the slate to the show in it. This is from July. How about, yes, do that again so they can see you. Do it. There we go. There's a Steve Beverly slate for you. This has got all the original commercials, and it's got the slate in it. And this will be our last show of the night, so we'll watch this and come back and wrap things up. Here we go. Jack Nars and 7 Keys, ABC Television. Why didn't it work? Because I didn't push the right button. There it goes. ABC Television, 1962. And here's the slate. Watch.
Jim, I'm used to... There we go.
139 Key 62, VTR 7962 for Air 71262.
Lovely model and housewife Gloria Roberts tries for her 3rd key for a luxurious cabin cruiser. And today and every day this week, one home player is guaranteed to win a luxurious full-length mink coat. Plus $1,000 bill of the most fantastic home game ever offered on 7 Keys. This
home game at the beginning goes on forever.
Niagara and new Niagara Spray Starch with SL32. By Spring, the cigarette that goes all the way to lightness. And by Johnson & Johnson First Aid Cream. And now here's the star of 7 Keys, Jack Nars.
See? Gracias. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to 7 Keys. And boy, what a week this is turning into with our guaranteed home game each and every day. Each day, we draw as many postcards as need be until someone wins a mink coat plus $1,000 plus a prize Wonderland. And the fun begins in just a moment. Right now, a solution to all your starching problems.
Hello. I'm from the Home Service Department of Niagara.
No, you're not. You're an
Watch
actress.
when we tilt this board. That's an experiment that was done at the Good Housekeeping Institute to show how new Niagara Spray Starch with Magic Ironing Aid SL32 puts wings on your iron. Helps make it so easy to beautify blouses, shirt collars, children's clothes, all your smaller things. For your larger things, or when you have a lot to starch, use Instant Niagara with the exclusive washer starching method. Just pour Niagara into the washer. It's the only packaged dry starch that works this way. Niagara's deep, penetrating action gives long-lasting beauty to sheets, curtains, even slipcovers. See how fresh and lightly smooth, never stiff or boardy. So for the 2 most convenient ways to starch, get Instant Niagara for washer starching, Niagara Spray Starch for spray starching. So effective, they've earned the Good Housekeeping seal.
And now the moment you folks at home have been waiting for. This is the daily guaranteed home game, which means we are about to draw as many cards as necessary until someone wins the big prize. Now, every card that does not win the big prize itself will win one of these 6 other fabulous prizes. Here they are.
An elegant all-wool broadloom carpet, an electric fry pan, toaster, and coffee maker, a silver candelabra and flower bowl set, an electric rotisserie, a Polaroid 10-second automatic camera, a portable sewing machine from Spiegel Incorporated, the famous Chicago mail order house. Spiegel is first in fashion and foremost in design. And last but not least, the entire prize wonderland, including hundreds of dollars worth of fabulous gifts, plus a luxurious full-length mink coat, plus $1,000 in cash, another dream prize from 7 Keys.
Yes, here are the mink coats we guaranteed would be won every day this week. Now, our first winner on Monday was Mrs. H.J. Meyer of Hondo, Texas. She won that coat. On Tuesday, the winner was C.F. Campbell of Tahlequah, Oklahoma. And Wednesday, the winner was June Walker right here in Los Angeles. And right now, we're going to find out who the winner is today. As usual, we will spin the drum and pull out as many cards as we have till we find a big winner. And we'll choose the cards one at a time. Whatever lock the key is indicated on that card, whatever lock it opens, that's the prize the home player will win. So, Colleen, let's start now and see if we get the winner the first time around. And we'll stop it on this turn and see what happens here. See, I don't remember how many cards we drew all week, but I know we started off, let's see, Monday I think we drew 10. Tuesday, I don't really remember how many we had. In the meantime, we have a card from San Antonio, Texas that was sent in by Pat J. Wynn, who lives at 646 Santa Monica. She wants key number 7. Number 7 is the key that Pat J. Wynn is asking for. So, let's see if number 7 will do the trick. Here's the lock and the big prize, the mink coat, $1,000. Prize Wonderland. Is it number 7? Oh. No. Pat? We now go down the line to see what you are going to win down there in San Antonio. It's not the carpeting, not the sewing machine, not the Polaroid. It is a trio of appliances. Now, Pat, this goes for you as well as everyone whose cards we draw today. We'll contact all of you by registered mail, make arrangements for you to receive your gifts. Now, let's give it a single spin this time and see what happens. Here we go. Still looking for a winner. 1 key down. 6 to go up there. The card is from Chula Vista, California, sent in by Ruth D. Booth. 1333 William Avenue. She wants key number 3. Key number 3 is the key that Ruth wants us to try for her. All right. And it's a new one. Let's see what happens. There's the lock. Here we go. Ruth, the answer is no. It's not the big one. So let's try for carpeting by Moha. Oh, that opened. All right, Ruth, that is good. All right, 2 cards and 2 keys down. Meanwhile, let's give it another spin. We're still looking for a big winner. What happens this time? Who knows? Here we go. All right, Colleen, in the drum, out and another card. Don't forget now, if you're in the audience and we call your name, you yell. I'm sure you will. This is from Flora, Indiana. It's sent in by Mrs. Annie Lauderdale, 712 Roosevelt Street. She wants key number 4. Key number 4, Annie wants us to try. All right, we haven't tried it yet, Annie. Let's see if it works. And all the loot goes back there to Indiana. Here's number 4. Into the lock and the biggie. And that is it. Okay. There it goes, Annie. Congratulations. Annie Lauderdale, congratulations. You've just won a beautiful mink coat, $1,000 in cash, and the entire prize Wonderland. Now, we'll contact you by registered mail, make arrangements for you to receive your prize. Now, let's turn over the little disc, and there it is, the confirmation that number 4 was the one. That means tomorrow, we will give away another coat, another $1,000, and another prize Wonderland. We promise you that, and who knows, maybe it'll be you we give it to. Now, we'll tell you about our next fantastic home game later in the show and be back with you right after this message.
Hard day, and it happens. Your taste says, smoke light, smoke light. Your inner voice echoes, smoke light, smoke light. Maybe it is time to switch. Maybe it's time to smoke spring. Spring, The one cigarette that goes all the way to lightness. Tobacco, only 1 leaf in 6 is light enough. The menthol is lightest of all. And Spring's filter is extra long for extra lightness. Yes, Spring goes all the way. All the way to lightness. Spring is created to let you smoke light. Created to be the one cigarette that goes all the way. All the way to lightness. Spring cigarettes.
Spring cigarettes, yes, one puff and you'll know this is the one menthol cigarette that goes all the way to lightness. And now let's say hello to a young lady who's back today to go all the way for her third key. This is Mrs. Gloria Roberts. Gloria, welcome back to the show. Nice to have you. We have in the past met Gloria's very handsome husband, Tony, and her real cute little daughter, Moana. I understand Tony is going to school now. Is that true, Gloria?
Yes, he is.
Where does he go to school and what's he
LA
studying?
State, and he's studying foreign trade.
What does he plan to go into after he
Well,
completes
he'd like
his
to
course?
go into, he's studying economics, which goes into foreign trade, and he would like to go into the field of foreign trade
Yeah,
as far as representative for companies.
I see. In other words, he would represent the countries in the United States that send goods to us.
A
Is
certain
that
company, you know, like Spring.
Mm-hmm.
And he would represent it in a different country, like Hawaii or something like that.
Oh, Hawaii. He probably wants to go back there
Yes.
because, after all, it's where he... How long did he live there, by the way? I know he was born.
Well,
Did he live there
he
very long?
lived there for, goodness, I think 2 years.
Oh, that's not too long, eh?
No, it wasn't.
That's kind of fun for him to go back, too, then. eh?
Yeah, it is.
All right, now let's take a look at that major prize you can win, Gloria. It's the perfect prize for a handsome young couple like you and your husband who are especially fond of water sports, and surfing. Here it is, a magnificent cabin cruiser. Let's take a look.
Yes, Mrs. Roberts, years of boating thrills await you in this Lone Star Imperior cabin cruiser. Beautiful, comfortable, powerful, and safe. It sleeps too and is fully equipped with running lights, steering equipment, convertible top, and a powerful outboard motor. It'll bring you endless hours of fun afloat and will be the pride of your life for years to come. Another dream prize from 7 Keys.
Gloria, that cabin cruiser is yours if you win the golden key that opens up our lock. Right now, though, we'll lock it up on you and give you a chance to win the key that unlocks it. If you win all 7, you'll get the cabin cruiser and 6 other real nice prizes. We're going to play your game in just a moment. Right now, a message about skin breaks, infection, and Johnson & Johnson first aid cream.
Can you folks believe this?
This is a skin break. A cut, a scrape,
10 minutes in, they haven't
bite,
played the damn game
or
yet.
a burn. Even detergent hands are tiny skin breaks. Because even a small skin break is open to infection, you want the penetrating power of a lasting antiseptic. Johnson & Johnson First Aid Cream. Look, ordinary liquids and sprays can be hit or miss. Worse, they often wash out, and their antiseptic power disappears. But First Aid Cream is the complete treatment for skin breaks. It penetrates to relieve raw pain and soothe the hurt. It stays in contact to kill germs, helps to heal long after liquids have disappeared. So for lasting antiseptic protection, use Johnson & Johnson First Aid Cream. It kills germs, soothes the hurt, and promotes healing.
Johnson & Johnson First Aid Cream. Hope you've got some for your family's protection. Okay, Gloria, here we go for your third key. You have a game called Land, Sea, or Air. Now, we're going to show you names of some animals. You don't have to tell us what each one is, but you must tell us where its natural home is, on land, in the sea, or in the air. In other words, if it's a bird, you reply air. If it's a fish or a creature of the sea, you reply sea. If a four-legged animal or any animal that cannot fly or live in the water, it's land, okay? So it's land, sea, or air, the natural home of these animals. Let's take the first step and see where we go. 2, not very far. We go to 2, which is a caribou. What's the natural habitat? Land, sea, or air?
Sea.
Mm-mm. No, it's land. It's a large type reindeer.
Oh, I see.
So we start over with 14 chances, Gloria. And another step, please. And 8 this time. All right, that's pretty good. Now, weasel.
Land.
Right, four-legged variety, of course. Safe on 8. Chances left 13. Gloria, another step. Another 8. We'll go to 16. Pomeranian.
Air.
Oh, no. Land. Pomeranian is a little dog.
Oh.
Yeah, cute. Well, all right, we go back to 11. We have 12 chances left, and again, the step wheel. 5, we go to the Pomeranian. That lives on land, doesn't it? And it barks and wags tails and everything. So we'll skip it, right? On 16, 11 to go, another step. 2. See what's on 18. A bonus. All right, and take a free move, Gloria. Let's see how far you go. 5. All right, what's on 23?
Oh, penalty.
Yeah, penalty. I'm afraid that means we have to back up, Gloria. Let's see how far. 1. That's not bad. Back to 22.
Muscle.
Muscle. It's either land, sea, or air.
Sea.
Right. Okay. Got a little plan. Safe on 22. Chances left 10. Step button says 3. Go to 25. A bonus. So we take a free move toward the finish line. How far will we go? 6 to 31, and you are safe. All right, now we have 9 chances left. Almost halfway. Let's see where we go this time. 9, all the way to 40. Woodpecker is land, sea, or air?
Air.
That's right. Spends a lot of time on a tree, gets away, but it flies. All right, we're on 40 with 8 chances left. A 2, we go to 42, and a bonus. Another free one. All right, Gloria, let's see where the free move sends you. A 4, which sends you to 46, and we have for you a yak. Don't have many of those on this show, but once in a while we get one.
I'll have to take a guess.
I hope it's right.
I'd say air.
Wrong guess. Land. It's an ox.
An ox?
We'll go back to 41. Excuse me. We have 7 chances remaining. Gloria, on the step wheel, a 3. We'll go to 44. It means we have to back up. Let's see how far. No, over here. That's a good. Whenever. You hate to push it, don't you? It's a 3.
I do, I really do.
Back to 41 and you're
Yeah.
safe. All right, now we have 6 chances to get to the top, and once again, the step wheel. A 4 sends you to 45. And a thrush is
air.
Air. Okay, right. Easy baby. All right, on 45. 5 chances left. And 8. And a 53. And a mina is
Air.
Air, right, a mina bird. 17 steps to go, 4 chances to negotiate it. A 1. And we go to muskrat. Land, sea, or air?
Sea.
Land. And we go back to 51 with 3 chances left to go 2 rows. On the step wheel? Oh, a 1. Oh, and it's a bonus, though. Let's hope it helps. It's a free move over on the end. Gloria, I had it correct. A 5 sends you to 57. Boy, had some bad luck today, I'm afraid, Gloria. That means we have to back up. Let's see how far. No, wrong button, please. Here, if you don't mind. You're a little shook up, I know. 8, oh my goodness, sends you back to 49, which is a bonus. All right, we have a free one coming. That's right, over on the end. A 4. And we go back to Mina. She's already said that its natural home is in the air. Now we have 2 chances to take 17 big steps.
How can you do it?
Well, it's been done before. On the step wheel is a 5, which sends you to 58. And we have chinchilla.
It's land.
Land, right. Well, there
sort of
are, I
impossible,
should say
isn't
that.
it?
No, it's not, because there are 2 bonuses between where you are in the end, and if you're lucky, maybe you'll hit one. But this is the last chance. Here it goes. A 5, and that doesn't do it. it sends you to 63, and the game ends there because we're completely out of chances, Gloria. So, unfortunately, in trying for key number 3, we kind of missed. We're sorry you didn't win the major prize, but we do have some nice gifts for you, Gloria, so you can play 7 Keys at home. We have the 7 Keys toy game. Incidentally, wait. We did a little snooping, Gloria. We found out there's something else that you really need, so we're giving you this, a wonderful new kitchen range. Understand you need one, huh? So that's yours. Thank you very much. Gloria, thank you for playing 7 Keys. Better luck next time. Bye-bye. We'll be back with more of 7 Keys in just a moment.
This portion of 7 Keys is brought to you by French's, makers of new copper kitchen sauces, by Dristan tablets for real relief from hay fever miseries, and by Neat, Cream Hair Away, the beautiful way. And we'll be back in just a moment, right after this message.
Shave, lady, don't do it. Cream hair away, the beautiful way with Neat.
Don't you be troubled with razor stubble. Gentle, baby pink, sweet-smelling Neat creams deep where no razor can reach. For the smoothest, loveliest looking legs.
Shave, lady, don't do it. Cream hair away, the beautiful way with Neat. N-E-E-T, Neat.
Now here we go again, another fabulous assortment of prizes, plus a brand new car, plus a fortune in cash that can be won each and every day the week of July 23rd, and with special dream prizes for youngsters, teenagers, and college kids. Look what you can win for a postcard.
Some of the most wanted items in all the world, including a delightful kid-sized playhouse, a red wagon full of toys, including a fighter jet, an adorable doll, and kids. You'll love the live-action Wonder Horse that talks and with legs that actually move. A generous supply of creamy smooth Carnation ice cream in your choice of all their flavor favorites, another quality product from the Carnation Company, and a powerful but safe gasoline go-kart plus professional racing driver's helmet and goggles, and a kid's best friend, an adorable Cocker Spaniel puppy. A 15-piece silver punch bowl set, and look at this, a portable hi-fi record player and a fabulous collection of hit albums, and a 19-inch GE portable TV, a beautiful 3-piece set of unique new duet luggage, and to keep your home Bissell clean, a family of Bissell home cleaning products, including the Bissell Centennial Sweeper that sweeps on both forward and backward strokes, a trio of handy kitchen appliances, Drinkmaster can opener and food mixer, a beautiful overnight case with Nutrus Protein Cosmetics featuring Protonale for softer cuticles, harder nails in just 7 days. And Forever Nylons and miraculous stockings that are forever runless, beautifully sheer and seamless with a soft matte look. Forever Runless Stockings by Chadbourne Gotham. A 20-volume set of the World Book Encyclopedia containing 11,000 pages representing more than 2,800 scholars. And look at this, the most popular toy in the country, our own 7 Keys game, so you can play right at home. It has a real working game board and will delight kids and adults alike for hours. A beautiful and practical steam and dry iron and a supply of Wands Clean Steam Water Conditioner, especially designed for steam irons. The unionized water that stops your iron from sputtering. A beautiful Lindsay Princess Water Conditioner, automatic, slim, and compact. You'll have luxurious soft water for fast and efficient cleaning with the Lindsay Water Conditioner. And a generous supply of real lemon reconstituted lemon juice. No work, no leftover lemons. Whenever you need lemon juice, just open the bottle and pour real lemon. And a sturdy lightweight patio umbrella and table set with 4 matching chairs. And look what goes with the prizes. Our brand new Pontiac Catalina convertible. Yes, the Catalina takes you wide tracking with unmistakable Pontiac form, luminous, flawless road car handling, and quick response from Catalina's powerful Trophy V8 engine make it one of the most wanted cars on the road today. And now look what goes along with the prize Wonderland and the Pontiac convertible. $2,000 in cash, all of which can be won each and every day the week of July 23rd. Another big green prize from 7 Keys.
Well, here it is, a King's Ransom prizes car and $2,000, and it can be won 5 times the week of July 23rd. That means we could give away 5 convertibles, 5 prize Wonderlands, and $10,000 in cash. And it's as easy for us to draw your card out of the drum as anyone else's. So get those cards in now, like this.
Send your postcards with name, address, and number from 1 to 7 to Keys, Hollywood, 28, California. All cards must be received at that address no later than noon next Monday. Cards arriving after that time will be entered in next week's game, so mail your cards now. And the entire prize wonderland, plus a Pontiac Catalina convertible, plus $2,000 in cash can be yours.
What do you say, baby? Now, don't forget, we always show you the prize 2 weeks before we draw for it, but the deadline for getting the mail in is next Monday. So send your cards while there is still time. We'll be back with more of 7 Keys and meet a new player right after this message.
And now a word about new Copper Kitchen sauces from French's.
Discover the fun of making luscious, velvety, smooth sauces in minutes. Discover French's new Copper Kitchen sauce mixes, a complete pantry shelf of deliciously different sauces and gravies, like French's brown gravy with its hearty beef flavor, French's meatloaf sauce, rich and fragrant, and to glamorize vegetables, French's tangy cheese sauce. Discover the fun of French's new Copper Kitchen sauce mixes.
French's, Spice Center USA, where exotic spices also blend in French's Worcestershire sauce. When you're sizzling spare ribs, boost their flavor with French's Worcestershire. It makes a hearty, full-bodied grill sauce right from the bottle, or add 2 tablespoons of French's to your own barbecue sauce. French's Worcestershire is an authentic recipe of international spices, great for barbecuing or basting any meat. American families choose French's Worcestershire nearly 2 to 1.
Now we have a new player for you to meet. Everybody say hello to Mr. John Hall. John, welcome to the show. Good to have you here. It's an interesting young man here. John, I understand that you're a professional roller skater, huh?
That's right, Jack. I skate for the Texas Outlaws.
Texas Outlaws. Where are you from, John, originally?
I'm from Mississippi.
Uh-huh. And I understand that you were raised in New York City. Is that
Yes,
true?
I was raised
Well, how
in
did
New
a guy
York.
who was born in Mississippi and raised in New York end up playing for Texas?
Well, I saw this game on TV one time, and I entered a training school in New York. Mm-hmm. And Lou Sanchez was traveling at the time with the Texas team. And he saw me in the training school, and he picked me up as a...
Oh, they have a special training school for
Yes,
you
they have a
fellas to
school
skate?
for all youngsters that are willing to try out for the roller derby.
Oh, I see. Well, by any chance, do you have any more of the Outlaws with you today? That
Yes,
we can...
there's a couple of my teammates from
Out
the
in the
girls'
audience?
team in the audience.
Yeah.
Shirley Hardman, you
Yeah.
recognize her, the blonde-headed girl from Ponytail.
Yeah.
Joan Kazmersky.
John?
And there's Richie Rapp sitting next to the beautiful blonde there.
Yeah. Well, good. It has quite a
few of them in the
group of them. Well, it's nice to have them aboard, and I hope they'll come back and visit us with us more often. Right now, John, I guess you're wondering what kind of major prize you're going to try to win.
Trying to find out.
Well, I must confess that selecting a prize for a young bachelor like yourself and a professional athlete at that was fairly easy. As in fact, I hope it wasn't too easy. I hope you don't mind that your prize is just one item and a fairly commonplace item at that. In fact, you see these most any place. Thousands of people have them. All it is a brand new Pontiac convertible. Huh? Thought you might like it. Here it is, a dream car on wheels, the big Pontiac Bonneville. Let's take a look.
Yes, here it is, the pride of the Pontiac family, the big, powerful, luxurious, and beautiful Bonneville convertible. The last word in elegance and quality, magnificence on wheels. A car you'll be proud of wherever you go. Another dream prize from 7 Keys.
You dig it, John?
Wonderful.
All right, good. Give you a chance to play for it in just a moment. We'll be back with more of 7 Keys right after this message.
Now for sufferers from hay fever and pollen allergies, here's a word from Dristan.
Allergy victims. Here come the dust and pollen from trees, grass, ragweed, roses. And with the pollen come hay fever miseries, watery, itchy eyes, sniffling, sneezing, allergy headache. So get Dristan decongestant tablets. Only Dristan gives you the decongestant most prescribed by doctors, plus an exclusive anti-allergent that acts directly on critical areas of pollen irritation. Dristan quickly relieves watery, itchy eyes, checks sniffling, sneezing, restores free breathing, actually sets up a protective barrier against further pollen irritation. And Dristan has pain relievers to relieve allergy headache, reduce discomfort, an extra benefit you don't get from all-day hay fever capsules or ordinary allergy tablets. For more complete relief from allergy miseries, get Dristan decongestant tablets.
Well, you heard him, John, say that I have exactly 30 seconds in which to tell you we'll not be able to start your first game, but we will start it tomorrow, and at least you know what's in the big glass house that you'll be trying to win, huh? So we'll see you then?
I hope so.
All right, good, John. Nice to meet you. See you tomorrow. Hey, and don't forget, tomorrow, another guaranteed daily home game drawing, so be on hand. We may give you a fortune in prizes, huh? Join us for that, won't you? We'll see you tomorrow. That's it. Bye-bye.
All postcards for our home game have an equal chance of winning if we receive more mail than our drum can hold. Preliminary drawings will be held to choose postcards at random from the sealed bags of mail to go into the drum. So send those cards in right away. Normal cards only, please.
Thank heavens I saw my doctor. I thought I had an ulcer. It was only acid indigestion. I've learned my lesson. I'm going to help protect my stomach lining with these Bicidol mints.
Bicidol medication not only relieves acid indigestion fast, Bicidol actually coats and soothes irritated stomach lining to help protect against further acid flare-ups. Important, no mere alkalizer mint coats to help protect like Bicidol mints.
Jack Bauer speaking. 7 Keys is a Wellington production.
A 30-minute show, and as Tom Joyce just mentioned on Facebook, with 7 minutes of gameplay, Steve. I'm getting all choked up over it. I cannot believe between the commercials and the home game and the prize plugs. I mean, no wonder they got canceled. They weren't put in bad time periods. People got sick of watching it.
And notice how many times that Jack had to say guaranteed home game. And they probably had to do that because of it had not been that long after the quiz scandal, so they wanted to have it where it was luring viewers to come in and watch the show and then not deliver.
Unbelievable. And I loved this show when I was a kid. Now, I had a chance during that show, which I don't have time to do during the Wednesday shows because I'm always engineering and always talking, to go onto Facebook. And Randall Bowie, one of our regular listeners and now viewers, was so proud of himself because he posted to the Facebook wall for the show a $1,000 bill from the 7 Keys game. Randall, I got you beat. I got the 7 Keys home game. How about that? This is from my childhood, vintage 1963, pal. Look at this.
Hey, Stu, notice that it's the Roll-O-Matic, just like they had with the concentration.
Which wasn't that patented by Norm Blumenthal in Concentration?
Yeah,
Yeah.
And they actually did the same thing with the You Don't Say game for the bonus board.
That's right. That was the cheap way to make these game shows so you could have 50 or 60 game boards. Not a bad idea. Today, of course, it would all be computerized, but isn't this cool? This is what it looks like in color, folks. And no, it's not going up on eBay. I'm keeping this thing.
And Ideal didn't do too many home versions of TV games. That's one of the few that they did.
You're right. Most of them were Milton Bradley makes the best game. Now, see if I sing, we'll get everybody off the air here. Anyway, it is actually time to go. We far exceeded the time limit I expected to do on this show. Let me see. I've got a couple of things I have to mention here. Albert Sims, by the way, the name of the ad blocker that he uses is called uBlock for Ustream maybe, uBlock Origin. So you folks out there that got bombarded with ads and got the program interrupted several times today, every 15 minutes, according to Brian from Connecticut, download uBlock Origin and try it on Wednesday when we're back on the air after the regular show. Now it's time for the Wednesday plug. Wednesday's audio show in the usual time slot at 4 p.m. California time, 7 p.m. Eastern, will have a return visit from my pal and yours, Bob Lesjak, who's also known as Bob O'Brien over the air on New Jersey radio. Bob is a music and a television historian, and Bob is the author, and look at this is the first time I'm able to do this. I can actually hold up the books that he wrote. He wrote single-season sitcoms, 1948 to 1979, and he wrote single-season sitcoms of the 1980s. And we're going to talk about some more of those lost shows, theme songs that you seem to remember more than the shows. Everybody remembers theme songs, but they don't really remember the shows. We're going to play some theme songs. We're going to talk about both on the audio, regular audio show, Wednesday at 4 o'clock. And then, when we're finished, hopefully not too late, not too much after 6 o'clock California time, we're going to come back here live on television, on the Internet TV channel feed, and we're going to show you a couple of single-season sitcoms. Give me an ooh. Thank you so much. That's right. You're going to get to, you'll hear us comment about them, and then you'll get to see them, just like we did here today with our game shows. Now, folks, I need feedback. I got a little bit of feedback from you today. We had a pretty good tune-in, not as much as I would have liked. It may be because it's a week's notice and it's Monday, and Monday's a blah day for a lot of you. And maybe some of you are waiting until this thing is archived on YouTube, which it will be later tonight at no cost. But that's no guarantee that the future broadcasts are going to be at no cost as well. I'm going to see what works and what doesn't. I can tell you that the bonus TV broadcasts that we're doing on Wednesdays, occasionally after our regular audio shows, will not be available to the general public. They will only be available to you as a VIP listener. Another incentive for those of you to continue to support the show, please go to stewshow.com, click on the banner at the top of the page where it says become a VIP listener. Please support the show. If you do that, we can upgrade our account with Ustream and do the non-commercial account, and then you won't have to get any ad blockers or any excess crap on your computers to ditch the commercials that they put on there. I think that's all I have to say, except to say thank you, Professor Steve, in your beautiful control room there. I think overall, despite the few technical glitches, we did pretty damn well for a live broadcast.
Well, I'm very proud to be the maiden voyage on this, and I'm looking forward to an opportunity when Wes is with us that we can try this again, hopefully, and make this a regular extension of the Wednesday show, because this has just been a lot of fun.
Yeah, so we should mention that you and Wes will be back with us on the Wednesday show on March 29th, the end of March. And if everything goes well, I am going to simulcast that show. In other words, we'll be on television and on audio at 4 o'clock on that Wednesday. But I've got a lot of work and a lot of upgrading to do in this studio between now and then. And I interrupted you just as you started to talk. You started to blip on and off again. That's one of the things I have to address. Go ahead and tell me what else you were going to say, Steve.
All I was going to say, I've enjoyed being with everybody, and I hope we can do this again soon. And so until we can, this is the old professor saying, come back to see us every chance you get, and so long from the great hub city of West Tennessee.
You know, I'd have been disappointed if you hadn't done that, Steve. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for staying late with us, and we'll see you Wednesday. We'll hear you and see you Wednesday, 4 o'clock California time. Bye-bye, everybody.